Okay, we'll get it started then. We're back with European Universalis 5. It's always a good day for EU5. Jings, I've just had 2 days off, and most of those days are spent either looking at this game or modding this game. Speaking of mods, I did prowl around, and I've got some ones that I'm very happy with. There's a mod called Good UI, which is making things very much more readable on top screen. No more character portrait, bigger flag, readable information about the estates. I don't know what they were thinking with the little green and red bar before. Generally feels like there's more space for everything. This institution, this research icon that I didn't even know existed to begin with. And this thing can be zoomed out and zoomed in a whole lot better and is more dense. On top of that, I made a little mod myself. Remember how I was so annoyed with the map mode thing pinging up and down like a toaster? Well, now I have this. It is always erect, as it should be, and it's much, much fatter. Doesn't get in the way of the interfaces here, and allows all my map modes to be seen and clicked on really rather clearly, so I'm much, much happier with this. Even uploaded it to the Steam Workshop. First time I've uploaded a Steam Workshop mod in years. I think the last time I did was for CK3, in fact. I forget what I modded there, but it had something to do with the unique building in Byzantium. You're a champion of the people, Jake. I'm a champion of a person. Just one, though. A genius paradox should hire you. Oh, Christ, no, we're not doing that again. Didn't you upload Avorion modes? I don't think I uploaded any of them. I mean, I stuck some on my Google Drive. Ooh, good question, actually. Well, it's not good enough because it doesn't really matter, and I don't care enough to check, but I may or may not have uploaded Avorion mods. I mean, I love Steam Workshop, but working with it's a huge pain in the arse. I still don't know how I managed to get this thumbnail upload to work. The interface for a lot of it is god-awful. But struggling with interfaces is the name of the game. So, Golden Horde, we're back with it. We're actually finishing off today, which makes me a little sad because Golden Horde is my favorite country in EU4. But this campaign was to learn the game, and I feel like I have a passable enough grasp on everything to move on to something else, something more challenging. I mean, we did play as the largest nation on the map at game start, with the exception of maybe Great Yuan, who just explode. And now I feel like, well, for everything we've come across, I have a good enough understanding to play as a much harder nation. There are some things we haven't done. Late game content, exploration, some real colonization in the New World. I think that stuff will come in time. In fact, I wouldn't actually mind getting some exploration done today. We're going to see if we can absolutely beans it over to the eastern coastline here and then check out some exploration stuff. I don't even know where the button is for that, but I'm pretty sure there is something along the lines of hire an explorer action that you can do. But I certainly don't know where. Ah, it sounds like a geopolitic maritime thing, right? Ah, here it is. Recruit an explorer. If only I had the advance. And 2,000 ducats. That is a terrifying cost. Oh, look at that. Scaled. The more income you make, the more expensive an explorer is. They tie a lot of things to your income in this game, and that is extremely cheesable, by the way. Especially if you make most of your money through trade. And, well, we make a lot of our money through trade. If you're going to do exploration, you need to work on getting more sailors now. It's 250 sailors for every exploration. Oh, that's okay. We can manage 250 sailors. We don't get a lot of sailors, do we? Monthly sailors, navy maintenance. Sounds like fishing villages are a good way forward for that. It's just a shame that fishing villages just do not make money. You gotta subsidize them or else they're just not going to work, right? I can't imagine fish ever being worth much in a market. I mean, can't we check that? Fish in markets. Is there anywhere with a deficit of fish? Delhi. Ah. Delhi, Kabul, Munchen. Yeah, well, it is inland. I'll give it that. Ah. Yeah, and look at that. Peasants eat tons of fish. But I bet that's a Catholic peasant thing. Then again, what about over in Delhi? Well, at least anything in Delhi, right? Interesting thought, that, though. If you get one of these inland nodes, then maybe you could make fishing profitable if you just shove all your fish into it. Fascinating. Did they fix Muslims being unable to do exploration? I hear that in pre-release you couldn't do it because it required booze. Muslims can produce booze, they just can't import booze into their markets. If I could click on a market here. Yeah, there we go. Imports are banned of wine, liquor, and beer. Completely ahistorical, of course. Muslims did trade in, well, anything they get their grubby wee hands on, regardless what they said. So yes, I also want to try and get for government rank empire today. I don't think we're going to manage 10 million people, but I think we can manage 5 million primary and accepted culture. 70 prestige might be a struggle though, but where there's a whip, there's a way. I'm looking at Great Yuan. I'm looking at the vast amount of Mongolians that are under their thumb, and I'm thinking I could take better care of them. So we'll finish up our deeds that we want to do in Europe for now. I want to war Sweden, not just because trampling on Sweden is one's duty they get from God, but I want to learn something about this. See when there's terra incognita, but enemy land. I want to see if it can actually be marched into, so when my army is back and reinforced from our disastrously expensive war that we've just had, we will send them off to Sweden to hopefully not die. That Casus Belli runs out in 43, so I got a bit of time. How do you like EU5 so far to compare? Oh, this is much, much better than EU4. Now, I loved EU4, but I did eventually play enough of it not to want to really play it again. This comes back as not only a breath of fresh air, but I think it might even outlast EU4 in terms of gameplay time for me, because it smacks so much of EU3, and EU3 was such a delight to explore into. Let me talk about one of my favorite things in the game, though. I spent a long time trying to figure out slaves. Now, I love slaves, slavery in this game. It's so good. But I was then bemoaning how bloody useless these slaves are, because they pile up in your capital. They can't move around, they don't promote, they don't convert. I'm pretty sure it's a bug, and I have logged a bug report. I meant to be able to have them promote, I meant to be able to have them convert, but they promote and then instantly become slaves again, and it is impossible to assimilate or convert them, even with the law that allows it. And I have scoured through the game files and changed everything I could think of to try and make these slaves promote. Because if I could actually make these people Sunni and assimilate them culturally, then they'd be a whole lot better for the realm. As it stands, maybe it's intended. Probably not, but maybe it's intended. Maybe it never gets fixed, who knows. Point is, I then spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make these slaves work for me. And I came up with two solutions, both of which I really like. Weaponizing slaves or putting them to work. Actually, weaponizing them is in a way both of them. What I did not realize until 2 days ago is this. If you actually export slaves, so we got our slaves in Sarai, we have a slight excess of them, and then you move them to another market. Let's say they're going to Ryazan. Where is Ryazan on this list? Here it is. How many slaves will we throw over to Ryazan? Let's throw 3 market capacity of slaves over to Ryazan. Wonderful. And then just automate the rest. I don't care. What this does, and we can see it at the turn of the month, maybe. Might take a bit to kick in, actually. No, it kicks in immediately. This actually moves the slaves. When you move the slave trade good, you move the slave people. But only from the market capital, I think. I have not found a way to actually move them out of existing places where they're working. But they moved out of Sarai into Ryazan. So somewhere here in Ryazan, probably in multiple places, they have now gained extra slaves to go and work in the RGOs. I don't know how... Here we go. Staraya Ryazan had 126 slaves moves as part of the slave trade. And they are going to go and work those RGOs. So when you look at the RGOs missing employees and you go, oh, it's going to take 15 years to get everybody that I need over here to farm this fish, you can turbocharge that growth by moving in the slaves. Now, it still remains a problem that they'll never promote, never convert. And actually, the more literate your slaves are, the unhappier the whole population is. These laborers are going to be less happy just because they have literate slaves in the province. A weird thing, right? I mean, why does anybody care how well their slaves can read? Surely that's useful. Can put them to more work, but it is how it is. You realize that only 2 days ago? I kept telling you that. I even kept pinging you with it. Ah, well, clearly. You're not very good at explaining concepts, Zingus. Otherwise, I would have got it in a heartbeat. Now I'm pulling your leg. But no, I really did not understand that. I could not grasp that the pop and the good were linked like that. Any advice for dealing with an enormous power I'm playing and I restarted Netherlands? Oh, is it because of France? Yeah, France, hegemon and everything comes in, takes everything, makes me take 8 loans just for the war. Can't figure out how to survive in the late game. And this was meant to be my tutorial experience. Yeah, France is a behemoth. And that's not something I have an answer to right now. I have not had to deal with a giant power without having power myself. That's going to change though. Our next campaign is going to be with a much smaller nation. I really want to do Granada, but I don't want to play as another slaving Sunni state right after playing as a slaving Sunni state. So I will go somewhere else. Don't know where yet, but I'm actually going to let you guys decide that when we come to the end of this. You only want to move them to cores, right? If they move to integrated, you can't assimilate them. Yeah, I can't assimilate them, period. So yes, I wouldn't want to move them to places that aren't assimilated currently. Again, I don't know if that's going to be fixed. There's meant to be a major patch coming out. When exactly? Hold that thought while I build a spy network in Great Yuan. And also while I remember that... Oh, I'm out of diplomats. Never mind then. Yeah, so here's hoping that we get some good fixes next week. Still building a spy network in Sweden. I was doing that to steal maps here, but I'll see if I can steal other maps. I know there's Kola up here, and there's Karelia here. I'll steal one of them. Is Blurple on the table? I have no interest in playing Byzantium. I fiddled around with them during my days off, in fact, and they looked a bit too easy, frankly. They get so many unique bonuses and advancements, and the problems that they face at the game start seem very superficial. So, oh no, there's an event that cost me 700 ducats, but I could just not take the event. And, you know, the Ottomans can be strangled in the crib, and they have quite a lot of really nice places in Greece, and Constantinople's amazing, so... I mean, frankly, it looks a bit too easy. Now, Epirus, on the other hand, no unique, nice starting bonuses, under the thumb of Byzantium, stuck in the arse end of mountainous, no-control land. Epirus is an extremely appealing start. But again, it's quite close to where I've just been playing, so I'd like to go further afield. I'm thinking India. My beloved Cochin is there. I could certainly play as an African, or I could give the HRE Thunderdome a go. Even play over in the Baltics and try and wrestle with Sweden. You know, there's plenty of options. But I'm going to leave you with that decision soon enough. India would be interesting, yeah. Campaigns you can smell. Cochin is a nation I played long, long ago for an AAR. Did I actually want to pass this farming state stuff? I mostly got this so that all my expansions would be nice and cheap, so I'm not sure I care all that much about it. And even if I take this, we're not going to be passing anything there in a hurry. Not the succulent pomegranate. I was just talking about that sea space. Granada is definitely a nation that I want to play as. Quite soon, no less. However, and it is a however. Hold on, this can be done. Okay, sure. Get over there. Oh, I can send from Riazan now because it's more populous than my capital. Or rather, it's top of the list. Yeah, I'm just playing as a slaving Sunni state, and if I play as Granada, it's going to be another slaving Sunni state. So I'd rather avoid being repetitious for now. I wouldn't do the HRE at the moment. The situation in the big special units are very buggy and hardly working at the moment. Better take a more or less special area, while India's looking better and better, isn't it? Loyalist embarrassment. Although we appreciate all the patriots, loyalists, the ones who love their country and protect at all costs, when they manage to embarrass us, lovability decreases fiercely. This is not what we pay for. The handsome sum that every month disappears into their greedy pockets, the relationships we try to protect, is worth more than their lice-filled heads. So I sponsor loyalists in Hungary. I probably don't need to anymore, since I'm far stronger than Hungary, and Bohemia is the real cash cow now. Horde unity, thankfully, is something that is very expendable to me because our succession is extremely secure. At least it is until my daughter's daughters, who have turned into shamanist freaks, come onto the picture, because our law forbids wrong religion children. Now, this was unclear. I don't know how you force matrilineal situations here. They've got the mother's dynasty, but they took the father's religion. Why in the world is that? I have no idea. But I'm very unhappy about it. Does Ryukyu exist in EU5? It starts out fragmented into a few different small counties, but Ryukyu is a formidable nation if you can unite them. So yeah, Ryukyu is a possibility. I'm not sure it's something I want to do immediately, though. We're out of advances to do, and we're still waiting on institutions, huh? I can't believe I still don't have the Renaissance. I really want the Renaissance so that I can do university, so that I could be the one to get the printing press. I have everything else available for the printing press, except, of course, for that. Faster spy networks are quite appealing, given how incredibly slow that is. Otherwise, we don't really care what a boat is. Slave Center. Slave Center can be built anywhere and rapidly increases the amount of slaves. And I believe you will get the slaves even if you don't actually enslave. Give me some of that, actually. And Sarai. Maybe I should just improve the slave market that I have right now, because I'm not going to be able to meet the slave demands. Not anytime soon. Leather is expensive. Everything else is acceptable. What the heck? Let's... oh, crumbs. See when there's a button to click on a number of times and it changes where it is when you click on it? Unpleasant, so it is. Also, Sarai Market is severely lacking in lumber, isn't it? Yes, slave lumber. No, just regular lumber. Huh, I thought it was. Yeah, look at that price. But it is going down to normalization, isn't it? But that's why the burgers are importing it. I really hate this burgers imported thing. It's very cool, but it's transparent. Well, it's hard to see how it works. So the opposite. It's opaque. And it doesn't actually play into the game system. Anyway, Kazan, would you be so kind as to give me... Oh, why did that reset that? I would like a lot of lumber down here, please. You make it cheaply, and I want to buy it cheaply. There's a lot of money to be made on it. You work with slave markets you have, not the slave markets of your dreams. Well, it won't be our dreams when we do 2 more bits of research. Yeah, look at that. Sarai market was missing lumber for the many, many RGOs we were doing. Starving provinces just means that our colonies are completing, which is rather nice. And it's good to see that my army is back in the shape that it should be, which is to say whole. When I fight Sweden, and I will be fighting Sweden, who will I also be fighting? They've got a couple of crummy little nations under their thumb, but they have no allies. Yeah, allies seem quite rare. Stands to reason because it's actually quite difficult to get alliances in this game. Still though, it makes it a bit easier to go and beat up isolated nations. I'm just glad there aren't cascading alliances that we used to know and love. You need to get sweet, sweet interest money as a bank and bring glorious capitalism to the world. I'm not quite willing to play a non-land-based country. I mean, we're playing army-based here. I'll probably do land-based soon. But yeah, playing as the wee banks and that. I gave the hands a quick sniff, but I'm not so sure that's what I'm looking for right now. Seems a bit too passive, especially for a streaming campaign, but maybe we can make it less passive. Right, do I have my diplomat? I do. I noticed something that bothered me greatly. Tim over here, and I don't know how this passed me by. I never had him on Scootage. All of my subjects should be on Scootage. Now that's probably a bug, and it will probably be fixed, but right now it is not fixed. And I've had 2 passes to fix it. But yeah, it's delicious extra money. Bohemia is the big one, though. God, all that Bohemian money. Bohe-money. Just checking how happy everybody is under my thumb here. Yeah, see, Bohemia is nice and happy now. Vassals feel safe. And if Hungary still has the supported loyalists... Yeah, which he does. I could probably pool those quite happily, save myself the diplomats. And if I ever really need it, I can shove it over to Bohemia. But yeah, we have lots of things to make vassals feel quite happy under our rule. It's bothersome, though, that cancelling that actually... Oh, wait, no, this doesn't cost a diplomat. Oh, cool. I could have sworn that it did. But yeah, I could do with the extra diplomats. There's always more money to be punched out of people. So far, my experience with alliances has been get one alliance, you're 20% over the cap. That's what happens if when you get alliances that are far, far stronger than you. But when they're weaker, it's less of an issue. Then again, I think diplomacy is very powerful. I was looking at all the starting government reforms available, and I could not see anything that was really anywhere near as good as the diplomatic focus. Even if you're over the top with it, it just gives you freedom to breathe diplomatically. That's a good amount of reputation for securing diplomatic things, and I actually really think that conciliatory is really good. Better than belligerent, unless you're, I suppose, really, really belligerent. Bartering? Who cares about bartering? And it's not like I have inflation to lose. It's starting to feel like having a little bit of inflation is a good thing. So you should try and always make sure that you have like 1% inflation so that events and things work for you. So I mean, I should just turbo mint for a little bit, get my inflation up, and then pause it there. Sometimes it's good to just be in... Wait, what? The rival character... What character? Has found his end. The real threat remains nonetheless. Uneasy warriors rally behind a new, aspiring warlord. I have a feeling that when we beat the succession crisis, the events didn't stop. Okay, hold on. I've got a little notebook. Actually, I bought myself a new notebook after the old one got filled. And I use it for 100% for game notes. Rise of a new warlord. Investigate. It's such a nice feeling, right? It feels like such a big world to explore because, you know, I see something that works in a way I don't expect. I look into it to try and figure out how it all works and then exploit that knowledge for my game. Oh, it feels so much like I'm playing EU3 all over again. EU4 kind of felt like it had less of that for some reason, even though I got a lot of renown for exploits in EU4. It just felt like there was a little less magic to it than in EU3. Jake's little book of bugs. What does it say right now, anyway? I can't say that because that would spoil something. Never mind. But yeah, it looks like the succession crisis triggers weren't properly cleared, so I'll go and look into what exactly was causing that. Just as I look into stealing stuff from Sweden. Ah, crumbs, it costs a diplomat. I was never the biggest fan of this spy system. I'm kind of sad to see it here, pretty much unchanged from its EU4 days. I like the simplicity of just creating Casus Belli. The idea that I have to spy on a nation to say, I'm going to fight you now, always feels a little out of place. I wonder if being at 1% inflation, so everything's 1% more expensive, would actually have more downsides than upsides. Depends on how many triggers you can get with it. But we've never seen the Parliament thing to fix our economy, because I've never had inflation, but having inflation is a trigger for it. Possible spoilers already, yeah, for later in the stream. Oh! Remember that nation that I thought I could take and I was soundly beaten the snot out of? They've actually beaten France on economic hegemon. I wonder if this truly doesn't take into account diplomatic income. Truly. Anyway, it's just good to see France not take every hegemon, because I've been hearing that's what they've been doing every game. Hegemon, purely French mechanic. Alright, so while I'm dealing with you, let's get that covert action. I still want to steal more maps. Tell me about Kola, unless you can tell me about the water zone up north. You could actually tell me about the Russian coastline. That is interesting to me. Let's do it. Whoa, okay. I feel like that was better than getting the Kola or Karelia information. That's good. Okay, now that's something I do like, stealing maps. Save me on the exploration. I wonder if that means I could steal Castilian maps and not have to explore myself. Certainly nobody has this information, but seems like a great way to save loads of money on explorers. Anyway, that's plenty out of you. Let's ditch that spy network. We're still building one up for Yuan, so I can get my casus belli on them. And then when we feel the time is right, we invade Sweden. Follow-up question. How do I invade Sweden? Do you think Novgorod is going to just give me access into Sweden? Wait a second, I don't have to care. Because we have the incredible ability to just violate sovereignty. Somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Forces military and food access. Which is just as well, because they wouldn't give it to me. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll just violate sovereignty and walk into Sweden, take the fight with them. I don't think it'll be a difficult fight, given that they're already struggling with the Danes. And they don't seem to have any regulars whatsoever. I mean, maybe I could just walk in with my 10,000 regulars and put them to sword, but would be nice having some levies as well, given that... attrition is a very real thing. So looking around over at Sarai, how are we on the slave situation? Lots of slaves are being moved as part of the slave trade. Now, I don't know what this number corresponds to. I tried this with a few different exports, and I just do not know. Because currently, in terms of slaves, not lumber, we're not exporting that many of them. In fact, there's still more coming in. Ah, look at that. Other nations are sending me their slaves. Now, that is also... possibly good, possibly bad. Because that means here in Sarai the market, that is, we're getting other people's slaves. Although, why would somebody trade me an Astrakani slave? How would anyone else have an Astrakani slave to trade? Wait, maybe somebody is moving it from my own Astrakani market. Gurgan? Who the heck is Gurgan? We're importing from the... Wait, why am I importing from Trebizond market? Maybe that's my auto-trading. Okay, that would stand to a little bit of reason. But yes, getting some slave trade done internally is kind of good. Gets all the slaves no longer piling up in my capital, and gets them moving around to the RGOs where they fill them out. I'm kind of saddened that I didn't cotton on to do that much earlier. I've heard of the triangular slave trade, but this straight line slave trade seems a little silly. What's silly is that I can't take them here and move them around. And what's super silly is that I can't actually force them to be fine, upstanding Sunni Mongols. Plenty of migration going on. The one thing I was able to do is that I could mod it so that slaves were able to migrate, but that wouldn't change the fact that they couldn't promote at all. So in the end, it's just a bug that needs to be fixed. I couldn't figure out how to do it myself. And I have no idea how to unpack EU5 and change it myself. It's all done in Jomny, right? And I'm used to Clausewitz. I mean, maybe if I put my mind to it. But that's a lot of mind putting that isn't mind spent playing the game. So I'll pass on that for now. Okay, there we go. Let's try and enjoy life at a little bit of inflation, see if that changes anything. Man, I can mint a fair bit without changing the inflation. Pretty nice. How much inflation are you trying to accrue? Just a bit. I want to see if it unlocks different events. Remember, I'm not here to play optimally. I'm here to learn the game. And if you just do everything the way you think is best, then you're not going to stumble into situations that let you learn stuff. At least that's my coping for the situation at hand. Have you got that slave conversion religious law? It has a law that lets you convert slaves. Yes, and it doesn't work. Religious law, slave conversion, forced slave conversion. I did this aeons ago, pretty much at the start of the game. And I will tell you with ironclad certainty, let's take Astrakhan. These slaves have been here forever, have never converted, never breeded, never assimilated, never moved. They're just frozen in time. They're surprisingly happy for slaves, I'll give them that. Yeah, very surprisingly happy. But yes, that slave conversion law is broken, and try as I might, I couldn't fix it myself. So I've just logged I put a bug on the bug report forum on Paradox Plaza. It's not easy to feel like your bugs are getting looked at there, but, you know, they get, what, a dozen bugs an hour logged there. I do not envy the QA at Tinto right now. No, cabinet member doesn't work either. No matter what you do, cannot convert them. The only thing I can do with slaves is emancipate them through accepting their culture. And that's only possible if the culture makes up 2.5% of your population. Let's see here. Muscovite, for example, are already accepted, never mind. So I have no one that's just tolerated. That's not true. The Smolensky are tolerated. Here we go. If I wanted to accept their culture, I'd need to either have 1 million of them, or have them be 2.5% of my country. Country's pretty big, 5.5 million people. 1/3 Mongolian, that's a big step up from how we all started. But yeah, the larger you are, the harder it is to get these small little crappy cultures accepted. But if I did that, it would immediately emancipate all slaves of that type. And then, you know, you could easily just not keep them accepted. That makes them unhappy for a while, but unhappy people is the norm, not the exception. Someone might visit Balaton with an ice pick soon. Well, I need to come up with a good final line then. Right, getting distracted here when what I need to be doing is curb stomping Swedes into the ground. Never tried this violate sovereignty, let's see. Oh, there's no prompt, it's just done. Our mighty armies are already rolling across their barren fields. Well, not really. I wonder if they can cancel that. How long does that last, and does it cost any economic upkeep? Or, diplomatic upkeep, rather. No, that's surprisingly free, isn't it? It was to stop me violating sovereignty with everybody. Oh, wow, they don't like me because I'm a hegemon. And look at that, they'll eventually not care that I violated it. Does it last for a certain amount of time, or is it just whatever? A lot of different interactions here. Trying to see where they are. Here we are. No, it's just put together with all the other military accesses I have. Do you see the treaty in the diplomatic section? That's exactly what I'm looking for. But yeah, it's just get food access, get military access, much like the rest of my food and military accesses. Oh, I got that one for going into Timrid, but it's nice to see it doesn't have an ongoing cost. You have 0% Smolensky in pops. Does the tolerated culture still cost culture limit? Yes. How much does it cost? Barely anything, and there's no other culture I'd care to do with, so I'd rather keep it that way. I mean, it's not unthinkable that I just take over Smolensky land, especially if they're accepted, it's no big deal. But there's no real need for a Golden Horde to really go blobbing. I just want to blob here now so I can look over here. I also want to try and slaving a lot of Koreans if the opportunity arises, but we might not have time for that today. I want to move on to more difficult starts. You know, playing as a Golden Horde in EU4, it was actually a bit of a small, crappy country at start because it's historically at its decline. You know, it's just before breaking the yoke proper. But here, it's kind of like the golden age of the Golden Horde, right? They got all the land. They're keeping it together for now, terrorizing everybody. It's good times. See, those kinds of events are so much easier to judge when you actually just see the percentages up here. No need to get the magnifying glass out to see where the situation lies. Right, so Kingdom of Sweden. You'll bring in Norway, you'll bring in some other small crappy friends, but otherwise I think we just tell you to bring it. And as I also said, bringing in some levies is no bad thing. Would love just to recruit all levies in this market situation. I could do this, I suppose. Just click on everything here. And that'll bring them all up. And do I care about this place as well? Not really. The RGO output and the loss of population are a whole lot of whatever. Who are you? You're a crown individual and you're not that bad at fighting. Let's get our units balanced out. I have grown increasingly irked by the balancing here. Why are my cannons on the front row flank? I know there's no back row, but the cannons should just all be in reserve, in my opinion. Or you just make a separate detachment just with your cannons and just for sieging. Which, all things considered, might be a good idea, but the cannons still blast during the cannon phase at the start of the combat. So they're good to have, and yet they're so vulnerable, and since they can't reinforce an enemy territory, they'll slow down sieging. Okay, I don't think I need to worry about that in Sweden for some reason. There's perhaps a higher power telling me that sieges are not going to be a problem in Sweden. Who could have thought? We'll just have our army at the ready to smash them then. Cannons get so much more convenient at the Age of Discovery, their amount gets doubled. Oh, that does sound good. But any amount of cannon is very welcome, because sieges without cannons are turbo cancer in this game. You don't need as many cannons to get the full +5 siege bonus when they double up. Yeah. Yeah, that does sound good. Alright, get moving. It's winter time, so everybody's cold, and we're going north, so it's only getting colder. This population's depopulating rapidly. Are they sick or something? Peasants died as soldiers. Okay, so I was wondering if there was going to be a bit of back and forth on the hegemony. Like, if you become hegemon, are you secured for a certain amount of time? Seems that the answer might be no, because France just got this back in a heartbeat. I assume that's more that Koke lost a lot of their dosh. Chinese. They deserve to be brought back in chains. Now look at that, reinforcing in allied land. I don't reinforce in Nizhny Novgorod, not Nizhny, just Novgorod actually. Don't do it in Novgorod land. Got any more crown individual just so I can... Yeah, you don't need to be competent, I just need the crown power from you leading my glorious troops into combat. I guess I have to go up and around, but, you know, I don't really care about subjugating Sweden. The thing is, I want to know what happens when I march into Terra Incognita in enemy land. Now, that's working on the assumption that Sweden has actually colonized these lands. Maybe they haven't. Well, time will tell me so much. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Think of the slaves. The proper management and bonded labor within our realm is imperative to the continued affluence of our people. Speaking my language game. English. They were only slaves. So yeah, the slave market has to be built in a town or a city, but slave center can be done anywhere. It produces fewer slaves, but it doesn't require slaves as an input. I think paper's rather cheap. What do I care, right? Just take them all. I don't enslave... Well, there's a good question. Who do I enslave? Because it's possible I could enslave Kazanis and even Astrakanis. Well, that doesn't seem right, because I have a slave market here. And the slave market is not turning any of these into slaves. I don't know why, actually. The Astrakani, there are Bosnians. Oh, those are already slaves, aren't they? Yeah, Bosnian slaves. And my existing people are Mongolian, Muscovite, Ryazanis, and they're all accepted cultures. But what about somewhere that does have slaves that are not peasants that are not Mongolians? Crimeans are also accepted. I guess they will enslave anybody who is not an accepted culture. Oh well, just build it and they shall come. Let's try it out. In an ideal situation, I think I do a lot of enslavement, or rather I have a lot of slave centers in Sarai. Whoa, hold on, why is it saying I can't do this? Requirements not met? You have to not be Islamic? Why was I able to research this then? I guess the idea is I put it in someone else's country, but where exactly? I've been bamboozled. I should have read this, shouldn't I? The slave center can only be built if it's in West or Central Africa. What? Oh dear. I guess that explains why it's in the colonial buildings category. Well, that's a shame. I don't want to enslave Africans. I want to enslave my fellow steppe man. Okay. The slave center has let me down. In that case, we can return to the glorious slave markets. Don't think I'd want my slave markets anywhere other than Sarai, though, would I? I can only have a maximum of 6 in this location. Why is it so low for the capacity? I mean, these places, like Papermaker's level 18, but the slave market can only go up to level 5? What's up with that? Can have multiple levels in the same location. Okay, but what's limiting me to 5? Or 6, rather. Limited by development. But that doesn't limit, say, my Papermaker so much. Papermaker cares about population. Slave Center only cares about development. In that case, could I have more slaves over here, perhaps? Yeah, just slaves everywhere, and not a drop to drink. And this whole slave thing is bordering on obsession, trust me, I know. Right, it can be built here. The only reason it's saying no is because there aren't enough peasants at the ready, but I don't care. Build it and they shall come. I mean, this place is very desirable, right? To come and live. Actually, not a lot of new peasants moving in here. Despite all the work available for them. We got peasants here. It's just they're taking their sweet time promoting. Alright, no need to worry about it. Sweden, I'll be honest, I don't really care much about this. I just want to come and experiment with you. Wham. And you guys can come on in. I mean, I'd love to tell you to just... Actually, why don't I tell you to just carpet siege? I want you to carpet siege in Finland, Norland, Karelia, I suppose. Wait, I can tell them to go into Kola and to... Well, actually, that's fine. Go and do that for me and see how it works out. As for you, maybe I could tell you to hunt armies. Hunt smaller armies. Smaller. Let's just try automated, actually. I wish I could just tell you to do everything in Sweden here. Is there a way to select the entire region or something? Select Norland. Ooh, that's good. Well, that is more than welcome. Yeah, you just go and kill the armies. Let's see how that works out. Like I said, not how I would usually conduct the war, but I want to see if this is actually going to work for me. I mean, look, he's on a rampage. The thing is, when I play against the AI seems to have perfect knowledge of where my troops are. So what if these guys suddenly know where they are? I mean, he seems to want to go down to Kalmar. But what? Why? Why does that keep happening to me? What did I do to this game? There's a toggle all on right click. Yeah, but I think that would include all of my own land, which is a bit yeah to me. Market attraction is beautiful. Privateers. I think privateers are broken. I tested them out in a separate save and it just was not happening. Well, they wouldn't steal any slaves for me. They just kind of disappeared. Maybe they were getting killed, but who am I to say? Never did pick up a recruitment law, did I? Certainly don't want aristocracy. Free subjects sounds rather nice. Supply depot, that's a thought. Haven't tried making supply depots. Maybe I'll need to for this kind of encounter. War with no CP cost. I actually do think there's no CB like no CB is going to come into its own in this game. Especially when you play as a nation that doesn't have great access to them, or you need to be fast. And I do think you need to be fast early on in this game. Infiltrate administration to lift fog of war sounds amazing in a war, you know, like the one that I'm doing right now. I'll give it a go. And then beyond that, what's a pound locking canal? Proximity cost down, but only by 5%. Sounds a bit sad, frankly. Somebody told me Coastal Fort is really good for something. What is it? Blocks privateer raids. That doesn't really seem worth it. A navy would block privateer raids just fine. There we go. Keep everybody busy until I can get the Renaissance myself. Wait, you're exiled? How? How did this become exiled? Was it because we declared war whilst my army was in violated sovereignty land? What the heck happened there? Coastal castle gives maritime presence that propagates proximity. Ooh. Maybe violating sovereignty ran out. It looks like it did. Okay, there was no indication that there was a time limit on that, but that's bad news for me. Because I need to get you back home to replenish. All the while my army that's told to go in carpet siege. Wait, where's my carpet sieging army? What are they doing? Where are they going? Whoa. Okay, let's abandon this folly idea of telling my armies that they can do what they want. How are they even meant to get there? I don't have access through Denmark, and we don't have boats to do that. Don't tell me they were taken from boats. I'm pretty sure, yeah, my one cog is over there. Do I actually... It seems I have military access through all of the Holy Roman Empire. How strange. Is that because I'm at war with the Holy Roman Imperial nation? So it seems. That's probably why I have access then. I recall that being the case in the older EUs. If you are at war with an HRE member, you have access to it all. Couldn't help but notice, you know, I've lost like 1,000 manpower just wandering around exiled. That's cool, in a way. They have no access to Sweden, so they're confused. Yeah, I get that. Well, we're going to have to re-violate your sovereignty. That is crummy that it didn't tell you how long it lasts, though. Yeah, there we go. Make some give us military access and food access. It also didn't say when it ended. Let's see if we can sort that. I want to see something about violation. It doesn't open these up for some ghastly reason. When a country violates our sovereignty or we do it to someone else's, that's fine. But what about when military access ends? When we grant, when one country declines, when another country grants military access, that's fine. When we decline, that's fine. Huh, there's no pop-up at all about military access ending. How bizarre. Anyway, that's incredibly important information, and I absolutely want it back. I'm going to need to get my units back up to scratch here in Tver. And I hope they don't go back to their automated command. Hopefully taking manual control gets rid of that. See what I mean about learning? There's so much to learn here. Alright, let's try that one more time, shall we? Before someone else takes away my ability to do so. I violate the sovereignty, and then I get my army marching up there. You know, November, lovely warm time of year to be heading up into Sweden. And we just get our arses in there. Instead of violating it now, how about you end it good and proper? It's a thought, isn't it? The Ottomans want money from me. The Ottomans want 370 ducats. Absolutely not. I haven't noticed any downside to saying no to these. I assume they're using favors for this. Amazing. I could ask them for money. They only have 88 ducats. And I... Oh, wow. So, I could give them this gold and then ask for it back. Favors owed by the Ottomans appears to be quite a lot. Should we try this? Alright, how's this go? If I give them this money... The Ottomans asked us for money, and being the benevolent souls we are, we contributed to their state coffers. By the way, give me some bloody money. Oh, thank you, Solomon the not so magnificent, but certainly the magnanimous. Life is good. It's so weird that the amount of money you ask for is based on your size and not theirs. Oh, I could distribute that money to the people that need it the most. That's a healthy amount of stability. Anytime you can get stability for money seems like a great deal. 300% interest, instant loan repayment. It's not wrong. Alright, now that we're inside Sweden... Ugh, let's not phrase it like that. I want you to stay there for a bit, and then I will task you... Wait, new market underway. Was that in Tver? Game, explain. Whatever it was, it didn't pop up here. I thought that looked like Tver's flag popping up, but I could have been dead wrong. We'll get another pop-up when it's established at the very least. Okay, let's try that one more time, this time without the black flagging. You get the military objective to carpet siege, and I still love that it's actually called carpet sieging. Just do all of that, okay? Blunk. I wonder how that's going to affect the nation that's attached to you, or the army that's attached to you. And your job is to hunt armies in... Somebody said there's a way to do everywhere. Somebody said there's a way to select everywhere. I'm not seeing an everywhere button. There's shift and there's control. Wait, is control like... Okay, so there's the location with regular clicking. There's the province with control clicking. And then there's the region. Is that region or area? It's area. With shift clicking. Don't know how we could do more though. Right click on a region in the list. Toggle all. Cool, but I don't want to actually do it back in my homeland. If they're back in the homeland, that's a different situation altogether. Let's just do this. Crush, kill, destroy. What's that from? Wonder if that small crappy HRE nation's going to get over here. I wonder if they have access to me. If I click on them and then click on their military access, yeah, that is so busted. In EU4 and in later EU3, if you're at war with a nation, you have implicit military access through their subjects. Same with being allied with somebody. But the fact that I can have a subject, not have them in the war, and have them deny military access to my foes, oh, it brings back some EU3 strategies. Anybody remember the old insulation tactics? Where you would actually set up a barrier of subjects to stop somebody being able to get to you. More slaves, Your Majesty. So about the slaves, I finally spent some time figuring out how many slaves you get. Viborg seems like a good example. Does anybody know why I got 500 slaves in Viborg? Their population is 10,000. I'll tell you how I got that many. It takes 10% of the largest applicable peasant pops. So. These Swedish peasants were the largest ones we could take. So we took 10% of them. So before there was 500 more of them, so it was like 3,000. Let's just say there were 4,000. So naturally we took 10% of that, which is 522. And then they just get carted back to a large city. I do not have any idea how the game calculates which city to take it to, but it seems to only focus on your largest cities. So it's not going to my towns anymore, it's just going to Sarai or Kazan and whatnot. Anyway, fresh new meat for back home. We can do that calculation again. Loimola. We got 50 of them. Tell me more about Loimola. Oh, would you look at that? We took the largest collection, and that's Karelian Orthodoxies. And they would have had 51 more than that. 50, 250, 300 and something. So we took 10% of that. 53. Beautiful. Maybe we can even calculate ahead of time how many slaves we get from somewhere. Where's somewhere that's actively under siege? We have no such place. Is this being uncovered? Is this being terra incognita uncovered? It is! Does it take extra long? Yes, look at that. It takes a whole month to march into terra incognita. 10% of 4,522. Got it, thanks. Yeah, you're very welcome, you oldie dad. But Ninja, right, actual Tokyo University guy, Ninjin, big boffin, massive brains, been around the world, highly educated, legendary levels of education, is calling me out on my Scottish maths. How is this even possible? How is this man, you know, being able to punch up this far? I have no idea. Perhaps I'll never have any idea. But maybe I should lend a bit of a helping hand, shall we? Maybe, as the good Swede that he is, he needs to learn about slavery before death. Slavery at efficiency, 33%. Right? Smack that into your calculations and smoke it. Also, a Mario Marathon when? You know, having Swedes around just makes this enslavement of them feel all the better. The only sad thing is that we're enslaving a lot of non-Swedes here. You think these Helsingis are actual Swedes? Actually, I do wonder about that. Tell me more. I mean, there's a lot of pop-ups, but there's no way I would disable the giving me slaves pop-up. Oh, what a shame. They're actually Tavastians. God knows what those even are. Ethiopia's slavery. Oh, I know. I have looked into all the ways to generically get access to slavery. Okay, I said I'd never disable it, but that's a lot of them popping up. Oh, is that Renaissance? I want the Renaissance immediately, because there's a possibility I can get access to the printing press before anybody else. Let's double check that that's actually true. Ah, crumbs. If I knew it was this close, I wouldn't have started with my Infiltrate, Administrate, Advance. But it is worth cancelling, even though you lose all of the research for it, which is very sad. Before I do, let's do this first. I have to spend rather a lot of money, but I don't know, I'm feeling a bit brassic. Can I really afford this? Okay. Renaissance has been a long time coming. Also, excuse me, I clearly need a drink here. Alright, there we go. It'll be rather nice to get my sweatshop workers out of this scrivorium. I have a rather large size... Wait, Papermaker Guild? The scriptorium is the place that we make the books, of course, right? I don't think the printing press changes how you make paper, and I love paper. Ignoring the fact that I make a loss on paper because... Why is lumber so expensive? I specifically ordered lumber to be brought into Sarai. Wait, why is it so expensive? The market price is 223. That's actually lower than standard. And for some reason I'm exporting... Wait, that's slaves. Man can't tell the difference between a block of wood and a slave. Okay, I am importing, but we need to import more, is what I'm hearing, and I hear correctly. Wow, that's a lot of lumber I need to bring in. Alright, lumber. Come on in. I want to make it cheaper so that we get lovely low-cost paper making. Need printing press to make pamphlets about how Swedish slaves work. Seems to be there's no straight over to Åland anymore. Is my army actually going on a rampage to hunt down and destroy any and all Swedes? Because I sure don't see them. Also, this is great information to know that we can just walk in and take this. Where is my army? Okay, you know what? For once, I think we will actually disable this. Ugh, but I love this. Ah, wait a second. I can still get the satisfaction because it's down here. I can have it still display on the log. And if I need to know more, I can not open the message here. Ah, no, I can. Wait a second. I can open this message, but I can't open this message? Bjorko clearly don't want it publicized how I'm beating their ass. Where's my army? You know, my main army. It's here. Smoke it. Wait, is it? Is it actually there? I don't know about that. I don't think it's really there. There's a back and forth in the diplomatic hegemon. I'm also wasting away in terms of money, which is rather sad. So very sad when I know that there are those with plenty who should obviously be sharing with the rest of us. The country strength of all tributaries is really growing. I can only assume that's because Bohemia is getting a bit too big for their brakes. So in that case... What? Since when could I buy locations from my own subjects? I don't think I've been looking at the economic actions often enough. Buy location, offer loan, send gifts, send economic support. Ooh, that's kind of nice. Anyway, it's not what I'm really here to do. I'm here to... Wait, there are imperial actions? I can ask him for electoral support. Bohemia will vote for the Golden Horde. It's not possible because I'm a location-based country, so army-based countries supposedly can't be HRE king. I would be interested in ways to break the HRE if I was interested in it. Certainly broke it in EU3 and EU4. Anybody remember Shamanist Sweden, European domination? And there was a lady in Austria who refused to die. She lived on late into her 70s. I needed her to croak to become HRE, and I had to permanently stay at war with Austria. Otherwise, things wouldn't work. Anyway, point is, loyalists in Bohemia, please. I don't want them breaking away. And I do want them filling my coffers with ludicrous sums of money. God, I love ludicrous money. Brown skin redux. Well, anything better than grey skin. Right, but, you know, the economy is really hurting after embracing the Renaissance. Wait, I embraced the Renaissance. Did I not change my research? I think I forgot to. Yes, I did. I was meant to cancel that. Even though I lose advancement there. And we want to beans it down to the university. And then once I have the university, absolutely want extra crown power. Curtail the nobility. What are the rights that we had? Ugh. Ugh. Why is this not... Why in the world was that not tooltipping for me? Let's try again. Rights to the nobility. There we go. Definitely don't want to strengthen it. Crown blocked from cabinet is unacceptable. Nobility blocked from cabinet's funny, but I don't actually want centralization. And I don't want noble... Oh, noble power goes down, but their satisfaction goes down, which is quite bad. Nobles are happier, more powerful. Ugh, but we get serfed. These are all bad. I actually don't want rights to the nobility enshrined. Are any of these not terrible? That's quite nice, actually. That's only a small amount of noble power. Makes them happy. But it's clearly blocked by something. Why can we not have this? Only monarchy. Okay, so if you're not a monarchy, I don't care about rights to the nobility. Although curtail them... 5% satisfaction on their fussy nobles is quite a lot. Monthly diplomats is so important for me. Cultural capacity is useful as well. Man, all the Renaissance stuff is so good. Even March sounds really cool. Integration's cool. People living longer, being less susceptible to diseases. This is great. What does a chancery even do? A chancy knows soft boil and has loads of HP. Ooh. Do I even have a chancery? No. Do I even know how to build a chancery? The chancery is unlocked, but I don't have a chancery. I wouldn't know where to look for one. Where in the world is chancery? You believe it's a burgher building. Yeah, it's still not showing up though. Capital building for the burgers. So if I go to Sarai, I go to burgers. I do not see chancery at all, so maybe there's something I'm missing here. Hey, my cannon maker isn't working. I'm going to subsidize the making of cannons. Maybe it's a building that requires a pre-existing building in order to be built. I'm open to the idea that there was something in there about it that I couldn't see. Bailiff, parliament seat, embassy, counting house, slave market. Yeah, too busy thinking about slaves. Not enough thinking about my chancery. Come on, Chancey. You can't build them as a horde. Okay, I accept that. But where does it say that? Also, why is the research available if I'm a horde? Let's get back to looking at the chancery. Here's chancery. Here's chancery. Ah, I see. Monarchy, theocracy, or republic required. That's a shame because that's incredibly good. Literacy. And it's only local. It's not that great, but more literacy is more productivity. Is that true? Do I believe my own words here? Yes, I do. Anyway, never mind that. If we can't have it, it's not worth thinking about. More slaves, Your Majesty. Novgorodian is the culture instead of Muscovite for some nation over here. I set that to be a pop-up, by the way. Why did I do that? Because my beloved Nogai changed away from the culture that I graciously gave them. And now they're reconverting all their Mongolians over to Nogais. The bastards. And yeah, that wasn't popped up. And I thought it would have been blocked considering I forced my culture on them. But that's okay. I simply need to force it again. They shall adapt to our way of thinking. And then hopefully that will bring Mongolian back into their country bit by bit. Huh. Don't even know why you're getting fights going here. You need to get involved. Whoa, you are taking an interesting approach there. Carpet Siege seems pretty good for a situation like this. Is that where they are, guys? It looks a lot like not where they are. There we go. But you guys are getting absolutely smoked. What a weird formation as well. Let's consolidate and balance, please. Why is that not automatic? Why do they go on their automatic excursions and then get themselves killed to that? Oh, God. Okay, so you get your 5 hours of cannon blasting them, which appeared to have done no damage at all, and then they actually engage. I'm dealing more damage than I'm taking. I was dealing more damage than I'm taking. Am I about to find that Swedish steel is back on the menu? Because I don't want to learn that Swedish steel is back on the menu. I appear to be learning that Swedish steel is back on the menu. River crossing, vegetation, topography. -3 on all dice rolls. And when the dice rolls only go up to 6, that's a big change. I have a feeling this is a fight that I'm absolutely going to get smoked in. Yeah, for big fights, I really don't think I can trust the AI to do my job. Get out of there. I wonder if the carpet siegers can learn to avoid the big encounters. Yeah, there we go. Like I said, I'm not too worried about this fight, this war going well, or even being a success. I'm looking into figuring some things out. But yeah, trusting the AI with my engagement when it ran into a river-crossing vegetative... what is it, like a wetland up there? Surely. But the tooltip keeps bugging out. It's because I told the game don't do tooltips over water, but it doesn't think that this is okay. Anyway, that could be really bad for me, because we already lost a ton to attrition by wandering around here in the freezing bloody cold. Wow, 5% attrition a month. That actually seems rather a lot. Ah, lack of food. That'll certainly be doing it. Do we even have food access for you here? Oh, hold on. Because the sovereignty is gone, I don't actually have a food line here, do I? So you need to keep enforcing the violation of sovereignty in order to get the food to go up there. Ah. Well, the more you learn. By the way, why is this not being... Oh, it's doing its switch of capital things here. Alright, so there are a few bugs getting in my way here. But yeah, now that sovereignty is gone, we actually have food, and we're happy. Great, I love being happy. Where's the capital of Västerbotten? No, really, where is the capital of Västerbotten? Eh? Umeå, of course, of course. Which you're not going for. Very convenient. Told you, end it. Yeah, I'm learning important things about the violation of sovereignty here. In fact, we've suddenly got food and then we suddenly lost food. I wonder how long this... It's changing back to Sweden because they still have this. Oh, wow. So this is actually really good. I love the fact that I can just tell my units to carpet siege. But hunting army AI is, for lack of a better term, retarded. And violation of sovereignty gives you no indication of when it runs out. So your food can just go blip. Fascinating. The pop-up said this access lasts 30 days, right? I'm pretty sure I checked it for information. Start a new coalition. No, that's not the thing. Let's look at violate sovereignty on somebody else. Nope. Nope, nope, and more nope. Gets cancelled if one of the countries gets annulled treaties. And that's it. There was a PP pop-up. Alright, let's have a look. They give us military access and food access at our request. Our mighty armies, blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for the word 30, or the number 30. I see nothing, Ali. But Ali clearly has third eye and can see oh so much more than I can. I wonder if I could just get local food if I just march on down to Stockholm. To hell with their big army. Although they probably feel a bit big for their breeks after they defeated me. Oh, speaking of getting defeats in. Didn't even notice you there, Norway. I'm sorry, but I'm not. This is costing me a ton of manpower, by the way. I'm going to be quite weak at the end of all this. So yeah, there's some nice things about the automation, but it feels like automation is something you want to do when you've already won. You know, when you already have the power to do this kind of thing. Then it's a nice hands-off. Okay, well, I'm happy to see that we won there. But I remember having an army at some point. I don't seem to have one anymore. How are my cannons doing, dare I ask? What cannons? Terrifying. Oh well, if they kick my arse, then so be it. What a weird texture. How are the colonies going on? This, that, and the next. Okay, fair enough. Ooh. So I was planning on fighting Yuan. Wait, I can claim the Mandate of Heaven. What does that even do? That is very cheap conquer cost. But I need to take their capital, which is aeons away. And it's a... why is it telling me there's a stability cost for declaring war? I think it's because I have military access through them. But yeah, claim the Mandate of Heaven sounds pretty cool. Yeah, 50% reduction in taking provinces sounds amazing. I imagine the mandate isn't an actual thing we can take, but maybe I'm wrong. Quick look in the country interaction file. Looks like it lasts for 6 months with the food and the military access. 6 months, huh? Well, we still have it for now, so that adds up. Seems like when you swarm an enemy like this, they don't have a good way of dealing with it. I've tried assaulting on a few different occasions to test it out, and the answer seems to be, if you don't bring a ton of troops, you're in for a very bad time. Don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, by the way, but I love this this layout for the map modes. Having them all here, not having it pop up like a toaster whenever I mouse over it. Just so good. Var so good. Yeah, and the guy not happy after I force him to embrace my culture. I mean, they like me, but they don't trust me as an overlord, which is fair. I wouldn't trust me either. I'm mostly looking to get the advance for university because that's going to make me the only eligible printing press person here. 68% chance that it'll appear. The only thing I'm missing here is a university. Which is strange. Why in the world do not, say, the Italians have universities? Is one of these a university? That looks like a university. It's a hospital. That's a university. I can only assume that AI is not going innovative, since that's also needed for the advance. Needs to be a city that produces 5 paper and has at least 20 innovative. Paper, huh? Maybe it's just a combination of too many things that AI struggles to get those to align. But it's not like there's any shortage of cities. I mean, the AI urbanizes like crazy in this game. But here we go. Here's an example. They've got paper making. They've got a university. It's a city. There's over 1,000 burgers. So I can only assume that Pavia can actually see their values. I'm pretty sure you can see values somewhere. Societal values. Here we go. Yeah, traditional. I wonder if that's the case for a lot of AIs then. Societal value, traditional. Naples? Stands to reason that Italians would actually be traditional. What about Germans? Traditional. Traditional. Even my good friend Bohemia? Tradition. Good lord, is anybody innovative? Granted, it's difficult to go innovative. Gotta push back on a fair few things. Thanks, game. There we go. Literacy can cause innovation. And what is the ubi mois? Alright, so that seems to be an advantage you have as a player, going innovative over traditional, in order to get institutions going better. Unfortunately, traditional also makes the estates happier, so does innovative make them unhappier, I wonder? I'm pretty bad at keeping the nobility happy, because I think it's important to tear away their rights. But boy, do I believe in high crown power. Even 35 isn't high enough, it should be 40, but our army's busy getting decimated. Hang on, where's my values? Here they are. Tabs within tabs. Yeah, at least I can get my hands on one innovation as long as I can get that university going. Religious literary rights. But literacy is good, so it might even be worth that. Okay, it doesn't make estates unhappy, which is fine. Actually, sod the religious literacy rights, because this gives max literacy anyway. Clergy literacy does improve research, but overall literacy is just good. Literacy... burger things, yeah, burgers are the way to innovation. Burgers just seem to be the way forward for a lot of things. I hope it doesn't bite you in the rear end later on in the game when they become absurdly strong from all the bonuses you give them. You know, I had an army up in Sweden once. Where did it all go? It appears to have died. That's okay. I mean, I'm not even gonna care if I get Sweden as a subject or not. There are more important things at hand here. Wait, what? If this is a port and it's not blockaded, there's -1 to the siege progress. At least it's only -1 instead of -2, but all of my cannons have now died to attrition. Sorry, Ulema, but I cannot afford to lose research progress here. I want my printing press. Yeah, defender ticking is kind of nasty. If they ever figure out that they can just kill me in Stockholm, then my goose is cooked. But they didn't come to get me in Stockholm. So, sucks to be them. Wait, how many slaves did I get from Stockholm? Important point. Some of them migrate and some of them died, but 1,000 were enslaved. But they're not being brought back to Sarai. I assume they're being brought back to Ryazan, as it's closer. Where else would they have gone? I think it only goes to my main cities now. I don't think Kursk is getting any new slaves. I remember the old Hungarian slavery. Sadly, Shimgiturga is a city. So slaves are going over there, even though it's not exactly the place to be. Yeah, Karelians are there. Do I have any other cities, by the way? Let me think. I got Sarai, I got Chimichangas, I got Ryazan. I never turned Kazan into a city, which surprises me. Oh, that's right, we've got Kaffa, don't we? No slaves in Kaffa. None at all. Do we think that's because they're being traded? Tell me about the slave situation. No, in fact, there's a demand for slaves here. Driving up the price of slaves, so... God, I just love how slaves interact with the market. Yeah, at least now that I've figured it out. Who was that extra market, by the way? Somebody was making a market and it slipped me by entirely. Has the UI changed? The ruler portrait is gone. Yes, I'm using the good UI mod, which makes the top bar a lot more legible. I made a mod myself to make the tool, the map mode picker much wider and always erect, so it doesn't pop up and down. I hated the fact that it kept popping up and down whenever my mouse went to the bottom of the screen. Catches the eye way too much, and that is unacceptable. And I got another mod. What was it? Oh yeah, thicker borders, right? I was having difficulty telling where, for example, a province would end. And to be honest, I'm still having a problem with it, but I think that's because of all the water here. If I look over here, for example, you can see the thicker outlines are so much easier. So now I know that this is, of course, the area. Yeah, that's nice. Now, if Paradox would just stop putting the cities right at the edge so that you can't tell... Yeah, at a glance, is this settlement here or here? I have to read the name, and man, reading is already not what I'm set up to do. Again, ticking war score? Not on my watch. Come on, Stockholm, do your thing. There we go. By the way, Sweden, I would like it if... Wait, they have colonial claims? Very cute. But not what this war was ever about. Be my trib. Buy my bombs. I am very surprised I won that. If he could only have known how small and pathetic my army was. Okay, so that's exactly how I do not want to do fighting in the future. Like, that was an awful, awful war. But I really like how the splitting up and sieging did work, as long as I was able to secure the war. Shall we automatically transport an army? No. No, oh god, I'm not exiled. I'll have to go back here and reapply the loss of sovereignty on Novgorod. Also, I'm drowning in completed colonies. I wonder if Sweden colonizes this if given half the chance. There is a corridor of colonizable areas right here. If I wanted to cut them off, I'd have to take Koloy and Misen, but to be honest, I don't particularly care. If I'm going to be colonizing, I want to do it in this general direction. And I have the gubbins for 2 additional colonies in this area. Bwomp, 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 bwomp. Bolshoi Uloy. Yeah, sure. Notably, these colonies slow down the further away from the capital they get. So Ponil is considerably closer and gets 34 per month. But then this place in Boloi only gets 28, and that is because of distance from capital. And it appears to always be distance from capital. It doesn't even care the distance from like an adjacent place that you get the population from, or the pops. Is there a reason why the army formation you're using is balanced rather than focusing on one flank? Not really. I just click balance because I do not want to faff around with formation. I would be delighted to optimize formation if it didn't get completely borked after every encounter. Like, you just... rather than redoing all of that, I just hit this after each encounter. Keeps it simple. But yeah, I love the fact that there's formations. I hate the fact that every single fight, if you don't rebalance them, you're going to get murked because flanks get weakened, and then, you know, sometimes for whatever reason they decide just to throw everybody into the center. Early game in this campaign, we lost some easy fights because everybody just went into the center, and then they got flanked and died. So yeah, cool system. UX needs improvement. These look so weird, especially when they're phasing in and out of reality. Like little ice platforms in Aquilo from Factorio. Is the map icons mod available anywhere? The one here at the bottom is on the Steam Workshop. I uploaded it last night. Wasn't planning to because, well, interacting with the Steam community at all is just an exercise in frustration. But somebody specifically asked me to upload it, so I did. Now I get to farm all my clown awards. Maximize my Steam level. For all the nothing that matters. I wanted to max my Steam level. There was one broken Steam event where you could get an pretty much arbitrary amount of Steam points. So some people exploited that to get massive amounts of Steam points, get themselves up to level 100. Possible government reforms at long last. Also, do we get access to the economic thing? I purposefully increased my minting in the hopes that we would get something that I didn't get here. Maybe it's random what you get access to, but I was hoping for the one that says, we need to control our economy better. No, 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 and more no. That's surprising. I love the term clown awards. No, there's actually a clown award. There's a jester. And people make stupid comments on Steam discussions to farm those to increase their Steam level. And I really think that awards have single-handedly damaged so much of the great things that Steam has. I mean, the general discussions is always a cursed place, but now it's just even worse. The worst thing is that the guides, now people post, like, how to start new game from main menu, or how to jump, because they want to farm Jester awards. So if you want to find a good guide on a vaguely popular game, you're going to be encountering that. I try to report every one of those I see, and it doesn't seem to make a bloody difference. Maybe I'm just a misery guts. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. How about we try and convert our horrifying lands? And this is never going to pass unless we become even more spiritualist. It's a shame. I really wish I'd gone for... not spiritualist, but human. Wait, no. It's not... this is not the one I'm thinking about. I'm thinking mystic and the other one. With spiritualism, I'd rather have the non-spiritualist one because assimilation is better than conversion, at least for my humanistic lands. Even so, I want to pass the... Tax exemption? The clergy don't even pay taxes, so there you go. Although now they can't really because maximum tax is down for 5 years, but I don't believe in taxing the ulema. They improve my research when they're happy, so let's keep them as happy as possible. AI loves to path through uncolonized land. A rebellion against Omsk. Who is even Omsk? I think Omsk have this one in the bag. Yeah, I think Omsk might be able to deal with whatever little thing they're dealing with right now. I don't understand why people buy trading cards on Steam. Randomly awards you. I'm not complaining, mind you. I've got about £100 from selling them over the years. People buy anything. Absolutely anything. Hey Jake, will you bring back the Roman Empire? Which one? There's a few to pick from. You mean the Roman Empire that goes around here? I would do it, but I'd want to do it with a nation that doesn't have an inherent advantage or even reason to do so. When I did that in EU4, I did it as Prome. But yeah, I wouldn't take Byzantium and do it. Byzantium seems like easy mode. I could be convinced to do it as Epirus. It's a thought. We'll be discussing future runs at the end of this. Right now, I'm wondering if I'm even going to have time to go and do some colonization. I need to pick up the pace, so we're playing on speed 4. Oh, but I was meant to look into reforms. There were more of these than there were before, weren't there? And I don't know what unlocked them. Take fixed vassal obligations. Where did this come from? Because I'm certain this wasn't available at the start of the game. And I'm certain inward and outward was not a value. Both are good, that's a problem. Colonial migration is a problem for me, though, because I do colonization. That would half the speed of it. Outward would double it. But inward causes crown power, which is amazing. Yeah, both are really good. Give me both. Aren't they age-specific? See, I would assume that, but I was hoping it would tell me where it came from. Ah, look at that thing at the top. That could be it. These government reforms are now available. Exchange of ideas. Ooh, wow, that does sound rather nice. Innovative and research progress. I don't want that. Screw the banks. Plutocratic ethos is rather nice. Parliament-based support and plutocracy. Plutocracy gets you away from aristocracy. But yeah, Age of Discovery gives us Black Chambers. Fixed vassal obligate for my style of play. Oh, that sounds so nice. That single-handedly allows me to centralize instead of decentralize. And if I had that early, then maybe I would have hummed a different tune. That's just one-time cost thing, so we don't care. Colonial range of 10% seems paltry. It's just for cut-offs. Conciliatory? 1% lower expected Diplo spending. That better be a percentage point, and not just 1%. Diplomatic capacity sounds pretty good, but at this point, is that really what you're looking for? Hostile attrition. Yeah, this is what freaking Bohemia had against me. Screw Bohemia. Mining communities. Iron, copper, and stone output, but not the golds. Also decentralization. Universal serfdom. That is some good crown power, though. Very good crown power. But serfdom... well, serfdom can be good. Serfdom improves RGOs a fair bit. And it does not empower the nobility. So yeah, raw material output. And that's everything from RGOs. But with free subjects, you get promotion. You can tax peasants harder with serfdom, so maybe it's not worth... You know, both of these are good in their own way. Tough call, but maybe pop promotion speed is really good if you want to urbanize. Anyway, that crown power is delectable. 33% is a lot. But yeah, that's where fixed vassal obligations came from, didn't it? And it sounds amazing. Because anytime my vassals are happier, I can punch them for money more often. And that single-handedly is going to allow... You know, it's 15 as opposed to the 20 it takes for punching them. And I do like to punch people. And it doesn't cost anything to take. It doesn't cost a sausage. Also, maybe Outward is better for getting our colonies set up. So it means when I go and manage my subject... Because, you know, we're really, really short on money. God, we are tight on the dosh. Means we can go over to people like Bohemia and say, I'm a bit brassic. Can you help me out? And they go, I'm too poor for that. Okay. This is becoming a problem. See, they're becoming too poor to give me all their money. Hungary's always got my back, though. Thanks, Hungary. Quick quiz. Who do you think has the most horrible economy in terms of inflation after everything I've done for them out of my subjects? Bulgaria, Serbia, Hungary, Georgia, Kiev, Halik. These guys don't pay me so much, so Tver and Nagai are fine. Who are my other subjects anyway? I already know the answer. But I want to hear from you who you think has been given the hardest time. Rainy thinks it's Bulgaria. The reason I noticed this because I was looking over building on my subject lands. And I was like, oh, fiber crops. Oh, what's with this cost? And then I go, oh, they got 0.21 inflation. Right. So inflation of the subject plays into the amount that it costs here. Not my own inflation. And that's very interesting. If you run some country that somehow turbo inflates but has a lot of subjects, you can just turbo inflate with no problem, as long as you do all your building stuff in other people's countries. Don't know how that's going to work for you, because how do you keep the countries under your thumb if you don't have a military, and militaries cost money that grows with inflation? But anyway, it's something to think about. Whenever you see an interaction like that is either locked together when you don't expect it, or not connected when you think it should be, there's often an exploit to be found. I'm not saying that's what I'm digging up, it's just my train of thought when I look at these things. Somebody's suggesting it might be Hungary. Now, I've punched Hungary for a lot of money over the years. How are you doing over in Budapest? I guess Buda's better than Pest. Anyway. 33 to expand RGO because their inflation is only 0.1. How about we consider Serbia? How are you feeling, Serbia? I don't feel so good, boss. Never, ever in my EU. Serbians. Crimmins are like the Irish of Europe. Anyway, no dosh for you. I mean, I'm still going to take all your money, but Serbia can just crawl around and die. It does not lessen my obligations on them. They must still pay rent. Oh wow, we actually passed that thing. Muscovite Orthodox peasants in Sarai becoming Sunni. That's a significant chunk of them. So one of my problems in Sarai is that it's majority Orthodox. But now that majority is slipping. Very good. Surely the Bosnians are faring better than the Serbians. There's a Bosnian? Sorry, you're going to have to point out on the map what a Bosnian is, because it's flying by me. Did you mistakenly mean Albanians? Albania is even better state than Hungary. Anyway, I could laugh at Eastern Europeans all day, but let's face it, I pretty much am one. Turkey want my gold. Turkey, what? You give one person gold and then suddenly everybody thinks they can have some. I'm pretty sure this is broken, right? Because of unbalanced favors, we ought to accept. Or they will lose trust, and we will lose diplomatic reputation. I have never seen this actually impact anything. By the way, Turkey, there's no way I could get that money back, could I? I could ask for a grand off of them. Actually, we cannot do this with our subject. But... Okay, no, you can never ask a subject for money, but I could ask my ally for money. If only he had money, because I already took it. So if I decline this, you would think that my diplomatic reputation would go down by 1.25. Okay. Is it going down? And Diplo rep going down? Oh god, what if it's reversed? What if their Diplo rep actually went down? Can you actually see a country's diplomatic reputation anywhere? What does diplomatic reputation affect? Because that might be a way to check it. Diplomatic reputation... No, it's only due to things. It doesn't have an implicit effect on anything outside of diplomacy. I'd have to tag over to them to check, and whilst I could, all I need to do is control-click on them and I'd change country. I don't want to do that. Might break something in Golden Horde. Check the ledger. Ooh, now we're thinking. Wait, modifiers is here. Good grief, this is how you see the modifiers for your country. The ledger. Wow. Oh, maybe this will tell me something about slaves. Slaves cannot migrate, that's fine, that's pretty much a global setting. Can capture slaves? No. But I can capture slaves from... allows the extraction of slaves by allowing an RGO... Oh, right, I think that's an RGO or something. Imports and exports of slaves are not banned. This is so wide. I want to drag this over so it's easier to see them together. Can't raid for slaves, but we can do religious slaving. Slave market max level 0. No. But yeah, conversion and assimilation of slaves are not blocked. Maybe you need unrestricted slavery. Any pop captured or bought as a slave will stay a slave. No. Well, that's not what we'd be looking for. Slavery is not blocked. No export to Excel button. That's what I need. What game has that? Interesting. But the question was if we can find somebody's diplomatic reputation. Does that affect Diplo score? Great power markets, merchants, allies. No, it doesn't appear to be. How is my score overall? Wow, game puts me 11th on score. Horrifying. Yeah, this always felt out of place in the game, but it was more of a multiplayer thing. Works of art, prestige, great power score. Wait, does great power score include diplomatic reputation? No, I have no idea where I could check it then. Ach, wheel. I'm not sure Yuan feels so good. And, do I even have my Casus Belli on Great Yuan anymore? I think Northern Yuan has become the new country. Oh wait, no, they're a revolting country. So how and when can I even get my war with Yuan? By the way, I am once again violating your sovereignty. Don't mind me, I just need my units to get home. I need them to lick their wounds after that horrible excursion into Sweden. That said, I won. I was honestly thinking I was going to lose there. If Sweden just concentrated their forces on me, I would have been very dead. They keep their own subject, though. Wait, I can violate the sovereignty of my own subjects? How bizarre. Well, let's do a couple of things for them. They're my subject. As such, they should be in scutage. Professional written law. Commoners won't be happy, but when are they ever bloody happy? At least I'm stable. Yeah, because I lost stability from embracing the Renaissance. I also need to make them happier friend, our Kingdom of Sweden. I don't know if you have access to it already, but there's a noble building in your capital that increases Diplo growth by 0.2. Isn't that for monarchies only? Hordes don't count as monarchies. Hey, cabinet seats +1. You know, if you start as Byzantium, you get 4 cabinet seats. That's disgusting. We've had to make do with 2 for the longest of time. And, oh, I've been missing a cabinet minister. Not been paying attention to that. To be honest, there's a lot of things I'm not paying attention to because I know the campaign's running down. It's achieved pretty much everything I wanted it to do in this run. Good lord, it's hard to find crown members. Can I just search for crown? There's 1 crown member I can add. Okay, very good. Hard to get crown members. I never seem to have enough of them in my cabinet. Is there a way to, I don't know, search for specific people? Yeah, search for specific crown characters. And then what I can do is invite them to court. Yeah, I mean, take Tinnybeg here. You're not dying or anything, are you? What's this icon? Goal-oriented. Fine by me. You're a general as well. Right. Leading an army means that you cannot, but if you weren't leading the army, I could bring you in. You're a cabinet member. You're a courtier. Can I even have women on my cabinet? Surely not. You know, Tinnybeg, you're not too shabby, are you? Get out of there. I'm going to put some other crown loser. Wait, there are no other crown losers. I haven't faffed around with this because I don't like character focus in this game, but it's very important to have your crown people in charge, isn't it? And look, you're already in a cabinet. There's got to be some man around here. So many women. This is what I get for having all daughters around here. There we go, my beloved grandson. Wait, don't tell me he's too young. 13. What about the women? Ooh, well, I can give them cabinet rights. It costs a lot of Horde unity, though. Is that because they're women? Take this guy. If I gave him cabinet stuff... No, I just appoint him, but he doesn't get to be in charge of the army. Yeah, so many women around here, it's very, very difficult to get the leadership that I need. Given the options, I would rather have my army led by this guy. Because that still gives crown power. It costs 20 legitimacy and they cannot be prime minister. Is that for anybody or just for women? I mean, it could still be done. 20 isn't just women, I see. If I can find a young, capable woman... Question of the ages right there. You are capable enough, I guess. Country not happy about that, but that's fine. And then you shall be put, well, somewhere here. This is not a nice interface for it. This is better. Yeah, this is just the curse of the 6 daughters that I got earlier. One of my great leaders just sired nothing but daughters. That threw the succession into question for quite some time. Alright, there we go. At the tender age of 16, I'm going to tell you to commit atrocities. But we call it assimilation because it sounds less bad that way. Assimilate into Mongolian because I need more Mongolians. Maybe have you thanklessly do it down here because I'd like to cut this off. Alternatively, we could work up there. Control is always a problem for getting this done. There are places up here that for some reason refused to prescribe to my rule. I'll get this done. The Astrakanis have been a permanent thorn in my side. Oh, there is something that I really wanted to do and I completely forgot. So people have been nagging at me about my road network. That is to say that there's not really much of a road network. We pretty much went from Sarai to Astrakhan and not much else. And I still don't really want to be building a lot of roads. I mean, I know they're useful, but they're damned expensive, and the coffers just can't handle it. So, at the risk of making them even more powerful, why don't we tell the traders to do it? In fact, building road rights doesn't give them that much power. It centralizes, which is now not so bad for me, and makes them kind of happy. So yeah, I certainly should have been doing this for a long time ago. Other people don't really care much. And now, surely, they're going to spend all that money on roads instead of libraries and masons and settlements. Oh, they'll be the ones building settlements. But yeah, my estates are quite rich. And generally, they help my country with that. It's not good when they build things like their spiritual retreats and their troll castles, but otherwise it's pretty good. I mean, Jinx, building me a library over here? You're too kind. Maybe we can at least join our northwest road to the European network. Yeah, with this much filthy lucre, I should probably look into just building a road. What did you want? Our northwest road to the European network. That would aid the trade situation. Of that, I'm quite certain. What I can do is I can look at Sarai and see its trading paths. I've already got a road and river down to Kaffa for that. But yeah, you want to get over to Kiev? And Sarai, I mean, I can just generally connect it to the road networks. And since money is not really much of a concern, I hope this doesn't scale, by the way. Sarai is not adjacent in our country's borders. No route can be found from a select... Wait, what? Ah, screw it. Build me a road. Also show me my road. I mean, if I wanted to build you towards Kiev, that's the route you'd take? Is that really the route you should be taking? I don't know about that. Surely down here would be nicer. Not sure I agree with your routing, but it seems to know better. Costs 1.8 grand. All right, sure, just get it built. And get us up over here as well. We can only build roads towards locations where the controller has a positive opinion of us. All right, well, the road stops short a bit then. We should certainly get a Sarayuk connection. There's not enough lumber in Sarayuk to do this. I wish it wouldn't say that. Oh god, there's not a road up to Kazan. Now that should be sorted. 2 grand? Yeah, who cares? Yeah, so I don't care that there's not enough lumber. I want to have it slated to be built, and then it doesn't get built until there is lumber. So the problem here is... Yeah, sure enough, there's a significant deficit of lumber coming in. I have a little bit of power here, so I guess what I could do is I could just spend it bringing in lumber from... where we have all the lumber, Kazan. Alright, there you go, get your bleeding lumber. Because now that's a trade I've set up manually, and to be honest, I'll forget about it later on. Ooh! Well, on top of everything else, we are now majority hegemon. Not that the diplomatic hegemon really gives that many benefits, right? Improve relations. If you're already the hegemon, I don't think this matters too much. Influence to improve opinion and trust. Maybe that's better than I give it credit for. Oh. Oh my. That's a different story altogether. Monthly diplomats plus 0.2, influenced by the economic ability of the cabinet minister. I don't have particularly good individual... Oh, that 16-year-old lass. Diplo core. Let's see if this does scale. Oh, wow. That is huge. Because it's also a money maker. With the loyalty of the subjects assured by the thing that we passed, the... What was it, like the country thing? Don't say thing, there's a term for it. A reform. The country reform. Now we don't particularly care as much about the 0.4 diplomats we get from this, because we just got 0.3. So really, if you don't have subjects and diplomats what you care about, that saves me a lot of money. But I do care about my loyal subjects. It does mean with all those diplomats I can keep punching them for more money. Not relevant at this point, right? I think we are past the point where the game is won. There are some challenges remaining, right? Killing France would be pretty difficult. But because we started as such a large country, there's not that feeling of, oof, I've risen to this. You know, the Golden Horde is actually smaller than it was at game start, and the population is truly not that much bigger. But what I love is the stuff that you don't see so much. All this internal stuff, all the societal changes that we made, the RGO expansion, the trade networks. Beautiful. And they didn't require the expanding of the borders. It's so good. So damn good. Golden Horde is already larger than I would make most of my EU4 countries at game end, unless I was trying to get specific borders like Roman Empire or when we did Montenegro into USSR borders. And people are still angry about me including Yugoslavia in that. And to that I say, I don't care. That's exactly why I brought it up, because I don't care. Yeah, as tall as Golden Horde can be, I'm sure they could be taller. Kaffa is a pretty amazing trade node, but you are strangled by the sound toll. I'm pretty sure I have to pay quite a bit of sound toll dues. Is that true? Trade income... It's not bad. That trade income could be a lot better, but I'm quite certain a lot of my trades are hurt by the sound toll, right? Sound toll, 0, 0. I guess we're avoiding the sound toll quite a bit. Even when we go to Baghdad? Yep. Oh wow, the amount of things a man can do to get around taxes. Life in Hungary is really rubbing off on me. Okay, so much sound toll paying. There's a peace option to be exempt from the sound toll. Well, if the Ottomans would be kind enough to just take Constantinople, we could deal with that. Do you mean peace or peaceful? I'm assuming it's not a diplomatic action, but maybe it could be. Maybe there's an economic action to say, please don't make me... Oh, there is! Sound tolls are important. That is quite funny. So important I could go down and kick your arse for it. There's a lot I would reconsider about this Golden Horde run. More quickly abandoning European stuff to take on Asia. Or better yet, going down and just conquering this area so you control this much better land. Shifting your capital away from Sarai, because Sarai is awful. Yeah, it's one of the reasons that Golden Horde is my favorite country. So many options, but I would certainly play the start differently if I started again with what I know today. State and its bureaucracy grow. There's never increasing need for people to oversee their administration. Well, it's difficult to keep my chieftains happy, so we'll give the chieftains what for. Tax evasion horde, yeah, pretty much. I'd need a few million more Mongols if we wanted this to be Empire tier. I do want to be Empire tier, and that's why I'm fighting, or I want to fight Yuan, but there's a problem with that, and that problem is that they're currently struggling a bit in other matters. And it's a bit of a shame, like, I can't declare war on this breakaway thing because they're in the middle of a civil war. Like, why is that my concern? There is land here. I don't care who administrates it. I want to come in and take it. I can see why, right? It's to stop you from just strangling new nations. That doesn't mean I have to be happy about it. Ooh, wow, look at all these roads. 1 road, 2 road, 3 road, 4 road, 5 road, 6 roads already. From my wealthy burger class. I should have done this aeons ago. Think how many roads we could have. Without me having to pay for it. I do have to pay upkeep for the roads, but I don't think that's much at all. Inflation? Yeah, I don't care. I actually want to see if I can get the thing, or any inflation-related content. University is here, right. Right-y-tighty. Building... University. Okay. Sarai is the #1 place to have it, no doubt. What does the university do, by the way, other than get me this institution that I want? Literacy, culture, migration, consumes books. Consuming books is good. Consuming paper is also good. Not in the Sarai market, just give me a university everywhere inside my own land that can take it. Just to flex. I love flexing. Not enough books in the market. Yeah, so does that mean that there's an initial book cost to build it? Yeah, there is. That's cool, because markets have stockpiles. And the stockpile can fill up, my liege. Especially with buildings that you put to make it better. Nagai, are you feeling alright? Maybe this is how they changed their culture without me knowing. Maybe they had a breakaway that had a different culture. So these Nagai nobles, for example, are... No, they're still Mongolian. What? That was a fast university? What? Is it built already? There's no way, right? I just ordered its construction. Did it even get constructed? No, it didn't even start, did it? But the very idea that I could have a university is enough for this. You put down the first stone and there we... Yeah, that somehow made us learn about the printing press. I need to check that. That seems broken. It's Age of Discovery, it's printing press. Yeah, so it is actually possible just if you put down the attempt to build one. I wish I could see the requirements again, because there's something certainly not working right about that. Do you have the paper needed in Ryazan? Well, this wouldn't spawn here if Ryazan wasn't making paper. And we have a level 2 papers mill. Only level 2? Level 2 doesn't make enough paper. Maybe I have... No, how in the world did you get that? You need to produce 5 paper for this. Only produce 2.3. Ryazan, tell me about the market good of paper. Maybe it checks the market? Very, very suspicious. I'm putting that down in my little book of notes here. What do I write down here? Like, printing, press, institution triggers, check. Bullet point, paper, 5 question mark. University not built, question mark. And the reason I make note of these things and check them out is that I expected there was a trigger there for having a building, but it seems like building a building is enough. So maybe there's an interaction where you can get something really good, but only if you have this buggeringly expensive building. So maybe you just queue it up, get the thing, and then refund it for full price. Possible. Anyway, just a consideration. Man's gonna wind up at Tinto chained to a QA ticketing system. Now, I think this game has far more broad-reaching issues that it needs to fix before any esoteric exploits. I mean, honestly, I was never that fussed about fixing exploits, especially ones that are mostly impactful in a single-player game. Who cares? Anyway, printing press. I finally actually spawned an institution. Feels nice. Now, how could I stop anybody else from getting that institution? I don't think I could, because the flow of trade would suck it out of me. I've seen people posting about how, you know, like they've got an institution in Baghdad and nobody's getting it because they all hate each other. Trade is the answer. Trade, and more trade. Trade is how institutions are best propagated. So yeah, now Ryazan's looking nice and green because it had... Don't give me that map mode. Wait, what? Oh, right, I have the trade window open. There's my printing press. It is spread to 3.91% of your locations. What, really? What? How? I don't think Ryazan is 3% of my locations. I have a lot of locations. Oh well, be that as it may. The printing press, pretty cool. Gives me access to a text that other people will not have for a while, which is an unusual feeling. Normally we're behind everything. Literacy, amazing. Diplo capacity, lovely. Institution growth, not relevant right now. More diplomats, my lord. Conversion, cultural identity. Crown power and centralization. How is anyone meant to say no to that? That's just free great things. One concern I have with the game's flow is that there are a lot of amazing things you pick up rather rapidly. I mean, we've been playing for a little over 100 years, and I feel pretty certain of my position. I wonder, if you play as a small crappy nation, just how fast do you reach this point? Small crappy nation is the next thing we're going to be playing, so that's an answer that I will be finding out before too long. It's going to be funny with the EU5 dev clashes next year. If the good old rule still applies, you can use an exploit exactly once, yeah. There's an honor system there at Paradox, at least there was when I was there, right? You find an exploit, sure you can use it once, but report it, log it, put it in the system. What was the system used again? I'm not sure I could even say. Is Ryazan like 3.91% of your population? That could be it. It's a very populous place. That's culture of Ryazan. 200,000 people live there out of my population of 5 million. Okay, so I guess it's not locations, but population. By the way, this map mode. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. How did I not think to check for a slave map mode? Look at them getting sucked up. Oh. Although, why is it sucking? This is just showing you the general migration of people, not specifically slaves. But the heat map shows the slaves. And that feels good. Curiously, after all the slave trading, did we manage to empty out Sarai? Oh. The wool RGO used to be 13. It went down to 12 because the population shrunk due to exporting slaves, didn't it? But yeah, it looks like they're not being moved out of Sarai anymore. Why is that? Tell me about the slave trade, please. No, we're still exporting to Ryazan, and I can't imagine Ryazan doesn't have a demand for yet more slaves. Maybe it's just a quiet month? I wonder if that's still profitable, by the way. Tell me about my slave trade. No, certainly not, because slaves are expensive in Sarai due to the increasing demand. But it's still not really done for money. It's done to just make these people miserable and distributed inside my country. I like how more slaves is more green on the map. Proof that slaves are good. Yeah, they're kind of crap. There's a lot of downsides to slaves. Yeah, they're not being moved around anymore. How strange. And the guy needs help. That's fine. I'll just make my subjects go down there. In fact, Tavera's already on their way to help out. Yeah, slaves don't have a lot of demands, so they don't drive demand for goods, which could be considered bad. Maybe some people think that's better. But yeah, they become literate, and literate slaves make everybody unhappy. Yeah, literacy of slaves is causing 3.5% lack of satisfaction in my capital. And even one slave in a province. Let's see if we can find a province that has a ridiculously small amount of slaves. There's surely not that many up. Okay, here we go. 16 slaves here. And those 16 slaves alone make everybody unhappy with their ability to read. I'm not sure if that's intended. You'd think just slaves themselves would be unhappy by having literate slaves. But it is actually set to be local unrest in the area due to literate slaves. God, we are researching at a lightning speed here. What is going on? Life is good. God is good. Hi Jake, I think my YouTube comments got removed, but I appreciate the regular uploads. Well, thank you, Fornix. That's not a name that I think is banned on my list, and I know that because it's a very, very short list. I read every YouTube comment. Some of them might cause a bit of brain problems, but that's okay. Well, made the chieftains happy for a reason. The Romans had a lot of literate slaves from Greece. Not sure why it would lower happiness more. Yeah, I think literate slaves should make others happy and the slaves unhappy. Like, the slaves learn more about how miserable their situation is, and yeah, maybe that gives them aspirations for liberty. Which, by the way, I'm trying to give them, right? I have laws to try and promote, educate, convert, and assimilate my slaves, but the laws are broken, so... And I think this is it, right? They gain social status. This is meant to be the promotion, but it immediately breaks and turns them back into slaves. And I think this is hard-coded broken because I've attempted to fix that and failed. Removed by YouTube. Not sure why. Prohibited gamer words, perhaps. Anyway, I'm glad you appreciate it. I do streams because I appreciate it, but seeing other people also enjoy it warms my cockles. Okay, I could really do with Yuan winning the Civil War so I can go and kill them. There was a major revolt of slaves in Brazil because the slaves could write in Arabic. The Portuguese couldn't read it. They're like, what's this squiggly stuff? The most educated BRs being your slaves. What a world. I must say, I'm really rather happy with my estates building all these roads for me. Think how much more control I could have had if I just let them do it. Now it's actually looking like a reasonable country's control. Let's compare it with Hungary. Is a nation that I have enslaved from more or less the start of the game a good comparison? Marriageable women. This comes up every now and then. People tease me about marriageable women, and it's because of an event in EU4. This event, in fact. I was trying to burn down a colony over and over again to force gold to spawn in Cape. So we'd get this event to bring in marriageable women, and then I'd burn them all to the ground. That tickled some people's delight. You know, we might even have better control propagation than Castile themselves, and we're forcibly decentralized. On the other hand, our provinces are bigger, so it looks better than it really is, I think. Yeah, I mean, consider it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 provinces away. It's already down to 40, not provinces location. 1, 2, 3, 4. Depends on the direction. I think Toledo's an awful place for the capital of Spain, by the way. I was looking at Hispania earlier on, contemplating, you know, if I were playing as Spain, where would I go? And I think I'd just disregard the north and the center of the country and focus more on the coastline. So my money is probably on Cadiz, possibly? Yeah, nothing we can do there. I mean, Cadiz is a perfect natural harbour, so that's pretty good. But there's also Cartagena, another perfect natural harbour. And that just allows the control from there to propagate better. So I guess it depends which direction you're taking your empire. You want to be more Italy-focused, probably here. You want to be more New World focused, maybe even Lisboa. Lisboa is a perfect harbour capacity. Notably Granada, harbour capacity grim. I will be playing Granada soon. It won't be my next campaign, but I am tingling in my bits with anticipation of playing Granada. I have some ideas, by the way. I was looking at their start, and I actually think I could have an explosively good start with Granada. But we won't be doing that just yet. Granada. We want Granada to be a challenge. Yeah, well. Fighting against majors it feels like so much more in this game than it ever was in EU4. And EU4 was so much more than it ever was in EU3. Just because, you know, EU3, what was France? Like 20 provinces? Now they are, you know, 1 million provinces. Also, they're stealing my diplomatic hegemony. Probably got some dip rep back that wasn't there before. Which of the bits are tingling? You don't get to ask that question, Mordkalb. Okay. I think I'm willing to say I'm done here. There's much more that could be done with the Golden Horde, but I don't feel like we're achieving anything. I've learned everything that I want to learn except for New World related stuff. And given the rate of our expansion here, that feels like a way bit away. And I would like to toy around with being an empire, but in this game, if you're an empire, does it really matter what you know and don't know? You've pretty much won already. So I am willing to smack the save down for Golden Horde and just say stream campaign end. Again, this was a stream for learning the game, a campaign for learning the game even, and we've taken it at a frankly glacial pace, but I really feel like I've got a decent grip on the game now. The question is, where are we going to play from here? Let me enable debug mode and TI the world away. If anybody was wondering how the world was going, somebody was asking if the Castilians knew about the New World because they got the institution. No, absolutely not. But they were probably out in the likes of the Azores, the Viceroy of the Azores, bending the knee to probably the Spaniard. Would you look at that? Overlord Spaniards. What is Viceroyalty, by the way? A settled Republican subject. What is that, a colonial? Here we go, colonial nation. I see. In my game, they discovered the New World in 1492. Well, so we got about 50 years on that. But nobody's made it down to Africa. That gives you like 100 years to solidify your position in Africa. Unless you're playing in glorified Loango. What are you really going to do? God, Ajuran. You know, it's like the only good culture in Africa. All this culture is garbage, but Somalia. The only problem is they're not part of a culture group, but a beautifully unified, large culture. So good for enslaving, and good for having it as an accepted place. I really feel like taking the Horn of Africa would be a really good place for an Indian nation or anybody nearby. Kind of wish the AI was a bit more aggressive. I could maybe turn on AI bonuses, but then they'll all get the bonuses, so... you know, if it was 100 years in EU4, I'd expect a bit more consolidation. There's still so many minor powers. I mean, take Persia. There's just been clown vomits from day one. Because the more solidified nations there are, the more challenge there is. Maybe the Golden Horde would have had a harder time if there was an eminent Prussian? No, certainly not Persian power solidifying down south. Maybe that's what Timmy was meant to be. The Timmy threat, which I strangled in the cot. Yeah, it's almost like someone strangled Timmy in the crib. It had to be done. TBW goaded me on by pointing out how Timur sacked Sarai so hard there aren't even ruins today. Is there anything else that interests me about this map? Just China dying. This kind of thing makes me worry about if there are truly challenging starts on the map. Outside of things like nations that are going to die to destined powers like France, how would you manage as a single France vassal, for example? Dunno, haven't done vassal play in this. But I would like us to decide where we're going to start for our next campaign. And I think the best way to do that is look at 1444 map. Let's do exactly that. Roll the globe, yeah. I often put this up to vote. In fact, I used to do it on Patreon back when I was doing EU4. You know, those that had the money could decide on the next campaigns. But this is here and now, and I want to make a decision. So I guess I'll throw it open to chat. Let's have a look at the map. There's no base tax or manpower, so really small nations are pretty screwed, says Anon Finn. I think you're looking at this like a horse. You know, he's got his little blinders up so he can't see the opportunities around the side. I think that miners can get away despite their lack of tax or manpower. Maybe not if their only other nations around them are massive fat powers. You just gotta believe. Ryukyu, as is tradition. The knights have some unique mechanics. Yeah, but don't the knights just print money? Which knights, by the way? Is that actual knights there? That's the country of Salona. Why can't we have knights down there? But yeah, I hear the knights just print money. I'm interested in a challenging start. Epirus is appealing, although it's a bit close to the Golden Horde. You know, this region feels pretty heavily explored by this point. People have warned me not to do HRE stuff until it gets a little unbroken. And I don't want to do Granada just yet. I mean, I love Granada. I am salivating at the idea of playing as Granada. But playing as another Sunni who's going to be doing slave things, I don't want to do it so soon after Golden Horde. Maybe it's the third or fourth campaign. There's the British Isles. And would you believe it, there's Moray. Moray. Naments and Moray. Might be a little difficult to get enough strength to kind of assert thyself over the Isles. But there's a lot of temptation to play as Moray. Mile Schnechtai lives again. Wasn't Mile Schnechtai of Ross? He was certainly in the north, but that's Crusader King stuff. Alright, let's earmark that. Moray is an idea. I'd be interested in doing that. Maybe I should write this down somewhere. Yeah. I mean, I'm a much faster typist, but the pen and paper's right here. So, ideas are Moray. Specifically not going to do Granada. Any other bright ideas coming from chat? I can't imagine wanting to play as any Italian. It's so rich. Like, this is just easy mode, the place. The very idea of gloating about having played anywhere in Italy just sounds like, what's that image of a guy in third place drowning himself in champagne and biting his medal? That's how it feels like talking about Italian runs. Rich, technologically advanced, good RGOs, good trade, good position. And to top it all off, there is a climate map mode. And would you look at that? The perfectest climate. Oh, we don't get the map mode stuff here, do we? But yeah, there's a perfect climate here, Mediterranean, which is just the best climate in the game. Interesting, my map mode thing causes an issue here on this screen. I don't think I care enough to fix that because it doesn't happen in gameplay. How about Malta? I've been to Malta before. They hate the British there. Greek, Maltese, Catalan. Little close to Granada, which is where I plan on playing soon enough. Not sure I'm so interested in that. Certainly interested in Epirus. You know what? Despite it being close to the Golden Horde, let's put Epirus down. Right, I'm interested in playing as good old EpiPen. More Epirus. Wallachia, I gotta say, but actual Rome, that is far too close to Golden Horde. No thanks, Wallachia. Hausa is a formidable nation that I wasn't aware of. Anything cool in Persia? Persia's so fragmented, I feel like you could take off pretty quickly. And again, I've just played as a Muslim. Do I want to be another Muslim? What's the blue stripes here, by the way? It's much too late for that weird Persian religion. What's it called again? Crivens, everyone's always going on about it. Why can't I remember its name? The best Muslim, Ibadi. It's got Bad in the name. That's a bit of a clue. Zoroastrian, thank you. The Jalarids are buggy right now. The dynasty ends the moment you unpause, so the whole thing is messed up. That is sad. That is real sad. I'm going to put in Cochin. Right, let's assume that we could play as Cochin. Why does Cochin start with a C? Because I thought the culture is Kochi with a K. Yeah, there it is. Kochini. And the province is called Cochin with a K. Huh. Anyway, Indian Minor. Smell what the content is like for India. The fall of Delhi. The race for survival with significantly larger powers breathing down your neck. Cochin is a nation I played in EU3 with the Mayo mod. And just because of its incredible, nice pink color. It's cool to see that it's still pink here. Why? Why is it pink? Did they take that from Mayo? Seems unlikely, because Cochin wasn't a tag in EU3 or before. Iceland for colonizing? It's hard to see the appeal of being so isolated. Any good African nations to consider? Oh, there's my beloved Mogadishu. Again, it's a Sunni slaver. So if I was going to play African, I'd want to get away from Sunni. There's no escaping the slaving, though. Anyone with a capital in Africa can engage in enslaving. And yes, that is as true as I said it. You wrote an entire after-action report about it. They might have taken it from you. I don't like to imagine that it was that influential. Plus, no Swede would ever claim to have had interest in that. It was all about being a man. What are we looking at religiously over here? Oh God, we're looking at a mess is what we're looking at. Fortunately, Timbuktu isn't on the map, so we can't... Wait, is Timbuktu a releasable? Anybody know that? Well, there's one way to find out, isn't there? Although I wonder if they would start out as Sunni. What's the hold of Islam around here? There's no escaping the Sunni. Alright, playing the Sunni side up. Release nations. Historical nation. Oh, wow. There really is no escape. What do you think Timbuktu tag is? TMB. Tag TMB. Why in God's name do they have the Star of David as their flag? Some things must be changed. I want that cool black stick figure on the yellow background so I can have him holding loads of money. Anyway, that looks like a pretty pathetic start. But again, Sunni slaving. El Genetico flag. I wonder if it can be modded. Well, of course it can be modded. I'll have to look into that. Nupe is a country that I played long ago in Mayo. I hate to say it, but they look pretty juiced up these days. Let's get back out of here to this nation selection. Timbuktu Electric Boogaloo. The money cap is kind of high in this game. Unfinished business, you say? It would be good to put that behind me, but it would be even worse if I tried and failed again. That's not even that I failed. I got really bored of that campaign and stopped it before it felt like too much of a grind. I'm not interested in doing non-landed starts right now, Dennis. Perhaps in the future. Now, I do love my beloved Hansa, and I even fired him up for a bit, and right from the get-go he makes pretty good trade money. But I'm just looking for a minor, difficult nation to play. Actually difficult, not freaking busy blob. Nupe. He's got a lot of food to eat down here. He belongs to these bizarre religions. Burger power, army morale, prestige. Absolutely no content. There are no unique events for Nupe. There are no advances, laws, reforms, or units. As a settled country, okay, settled country is hardly unique content. As a tribe, he gets a bunch of this stuff. And I can only assume they're not particularly good. That's okay though, it's meant to be challenging. It's just, you know, this kind of stuff looks more appealing. I don't know, maybe Africa play is not really what we're looking for. I will admit that Mogadishu looks delectable. Played as Mogadishu long ago. Aztec, nah, not New World gameplay doesn't seem appealing. It's never been particularly interesting in EU, and I can't imagine that's changed in EU5. Maybe it has, but I've read a lot of bug reports about things being broken in Mesoamerica, so yeah, to that. For now, at least. Not really nations in Madagascar. But this is all colonizable, isn't it? Yeah, not only that, at a glance, the RGOs look pretty good. You've got access to iron, you've got a lot of food, you've got lumber. You've got building materials, sand, stone, clay. You've got metals, copper, iron. There's fish. Thankfully not a lot of it. You've got sugar, you've got cotton. Got beeswax as well, so you're not short on that. Notable lack of tin. Where's the nearest tin? Also, there's no gold on the island. That is sad. Tell me about my Christmas tinners. Aha, no. Tin is available. It's just not on the island here. Ah, hey, I broke something here. This is my mod, by the way, and mod not happy, it seems. Okay, no, mod is happy now. There must be a different way that it calls that from this screen. Colombian tags starved to death because they have a historical population, but Johan forgot to give them agricultural tech. Well, sucks to be them. Yeah, I'm hesitant to believe that would be interesting to play in any way. Southeast Asia's always had this problem of being very, very powerful in player hands. You just gobble up these areas, unify them. What's the religion and culture looking like? Hindus and Buddhists. Huh. Pre-Islamic dominance. Oh wow, that culture's a mess, but there's so many people living here. Yeah, the power of pop. No euro could surely deal with you over here. Yeah, I'm struggling to imagine interesting stuff here. I wouldn't want to put Ryukyu up for a vote, because everybody would just vote Ryukyu. Because they have no sense of originality. Just take these three, upgrade to Ryukyu, which I think is a tier 2 duchy. And then just pick on whatever explodes out of yuan. You know, maybe that would be alright. The trouble is you're going to have no money at all. How do you even get off the island? Japan clan? How do you even start as a clan? When Ashikaga breaks up, do you get to choose one? Is there any way to prevent Ashikaga from exploding? There's no Ainu tag up here, sadly not. Build a raft like the olden times. Now this could be a bit more of a Thunderdome. You got a lot of China to deal with, a lot of possibilities for growing big and strong. No Ainu is a crime, yeah. One of the buttons at the top right, look for building-based countries. Yeah, I'm not interested though. Unless you're saying that's how we play as one of the clans. Sort by unique content, no. Population, government type. My beloved hordes. Settled nations with their weak settled ways. How about we look for building-based? No, it doesn't want to do that. What if I look for clan? Aha, there we go. So that's how we play as them. Oh, so you could play as the Oda clan here easily enough. We could play Sengoku Rants, but I'd need to think up a Rants-themed run for Japan. Well, that's a pretty interesting way to implement that. Is there anything I would want to do down here, though? Yeah, so many opportunities. I'm trying to think of something. Oh, 91 million. Okay, I thought 91 million people lived here, but no, that's all of Yuan. What a mess. What a still messy thing, but less of a mess. The sheer amount of clans give Japan impressive cultural relevance at the start. Aye, that they do. That's probably how they got so much score to begin with. Play as moist. Moist? Explain further. I don't see moist. Or do you mean it was a religion? Oh, good lord, it is. Tell me about being moist. You can have slaves working for you, but how do you even get slaves? The estates are all happy is pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty nice boost right there. What about whatever is Manipur in EU5? I have been curious. I thought I tried to spot them, but couldn't. Wasn't Manipur right here? We've got Hswang, Hsup, Mong Kong, Sagying, Kale. Oh, Kale. They got a very difficult achievement in EU4, as I recall. Mong Itipsaw, Senwei, Bam No, Mong Yang, Mong Kwang. Maybe it's a province name or something. Pretty sure Manipur's around here. With the new map, it's difficult to tell, but I thought Manipur was up here. But it doesn't seem to be a nation. Kale is still kind of interesting, though. Incredibly small and crappy. Are there non-Sunni Afghanis that you can play as? Well, it's all Muslim around here, but I suppose I could play Shia. I just don't want to play a Muslim again, because I plan on playing a Muslim soon with Granada. So if I do Muslim, and another Muslim, it's going to feel a bit repetitious. I don't really care about how that is for the stream. I care about it for me. I want to play as other nations. Mori, Epirus, and Cochin currently on my list of interests. Manipur is more to the west, and it's impassable terrain. It was around here. I certainly remember having trouble with Pegu, which is... I guess this is the tag Pegu. Oh, it is. This is Pegu's tag. I wonder... Maybe their tag is still here and they just changed the title. HHP, WNT, Maya, Mkin, Mulb. It wouldn't be this far out, though. Manipur appears to be bang on the impassable mountain. Okay, well, I guess I'm out of luck if I want them. Is Adventure Island independent? Adventure Island? You mean Bornholm? That's strictly under Kingdom of Denmark. What about Tibet? It's not really a miner, but, well, it's minor enough. Or you could be a Tibetan miner. Guj seems like a miserable place to play, though. I mean, what can you even do in terms of development, population, trade? Suckle off of Delhi as hard as you can. Prome looks hard. Wait, is Prome even a nation on the map right now? Ah. Where are you, Prome? Aha, here we go. Coming back to me now. If I was going to do Prome, I'd want to do Prome and Empire stuff again, but I wonder if blobbing that hard is even fun in the game. Even just making the USSR borders in this game is making me think, oh. Yeah, but possibly. Nepalese. It's Hindu all over the place here. What is the Tibetan Buddhism like? Ah, so they play with the karma system, but they get a lot of positive karma. They get a lot of war exhaustion loss, they get a lot of literacy, and they get monasteries. Monasteries make the clergy very literate, and they convert faster. And they will do so with a variety of different methods. Maybe Bangladeshi, create the state of Super Bangladeshi Man. It's not far away from what we were just looking at now, is it? But what's even available here? Kind of large, chunky nations. I played as a Rissa once, when it was possible to form into a horde. Does anybody know if it's possible to reform into a horde in this game, through any means? I have a feeling that it's not. I think the only way to make new hordes is to, as a horde, create a subject, and that subject will be a horde. A Lothian run to raid Egypt. They were only slaves. Yeah, the thing is, when I play Granada, I'm also going to be a slaving nation. So if I do slaves, Sunni focus again. If I do nothing but slaves, I wonder about that one. Also, Lodi is kind of chunky. If I was going to play in this region, I want to play as my beloved Mogadishu. Significantly under the thumb of Ajiran. But I saw the AI beat Ajiran, so as Mogadishu, so surely it's possible. The ship graveyard simulator of Bang. What's the formables in this region, by the way? Because we could do a ship graveyard run where we focus heavily on naval. I wonder what could be done in terms of naval. Like, could you do vast blockades? Do blockades even do much money? I think I'll find the area and then figure the run out beyond that. The Philippines surely is a decent population, easy enough to unify, so I'm not so sure about that one. You could try Oman. A little sheikdom of super landlocked Oman. Staring down somebody 10 times their size. Could be done. I think I have a strategy of how you could do this, actually. I think you could beat Ormus with Oman immediately, unless Ormus gets some chunky allies. Because I have a cunning plan. What would we do with Oman? Are they Abadi here? Tell me about Abadiism. Slaves, jurisprudence, religious figures, no wine, liquor. It's just more Sunni, right? What in the world makes Omani different? What in the world makes Abadi different from Sunni? Ship and trade. I don't even care about trade advantage. Trade efficiency is better, and that's what the Sunnis get. Yeah, man, Abadi is bad. Did Abadi get anything in EU4? I'm trying to remember. Might have even while I was working there, and I managed to forget. A plan so cunning, you could stick a tail on it and call it a fox. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it seems I'm gravitating a lot towards Sunni slaving nations. Trust me, that's not what I'm trying to go for here. Why don't we keep it simple then? We've got 3 ideas. There's More, Epirus, and Cochin. I'm pretty happy doing any of them. Don't know what the campaign goal would be for them. Obviously, More should be something about uniting Scotland, crushing the English. Don't know what else we do with that. Maybe like revenge on Canada. But there should be like a big difficult goal that needs to be achieved for any campaign, and it typically is for my runs. What would More's be? What would Epirus's be? And what would Cochin's be? Drug trade for More. Well, there are drugs, but it's not narcotic drugs. There's a Celtic Union ahistorical formable. Yeah, but forming countries takes the soul out of who you're playing as. I very rarely do it. When I'm playing as More, I still want to be More when I'm big and strong. You know, if I become Scotland or Great Britain or Celtic Union, you know, what's to say there's still More happening there? Epirus should clearly be Pyrrhus's revenge, conquer Rome. There should be a bit more to that, because how hard can it be to conquer the Papal States? You know, we grab this, we crush the Turkoman, we have essentially Greece, and then goodbye Papal States. Should be something a bit more dangerous and overreaching for it. That said, I don't think it would be difficult to come up with something for Epirus. Unlucky Italia needs to be coming back. Epirus, restore the Patriarchy. That seems reasonable. I don't know what's required for it, but that seems like a reasonable goal. More. Since France is so powerful, maybe the goal should be to destroy France. That's actually a reasonable goal. Like, Ald Alliance this or something. Oh, but hang on, you're Highlander. Scots are surprisingly in the smaller rank. Highlander is a sad, sad culture. Culture group Celtic, culture group Scottish. Wait, it is culture group British. Doesn't that mean that you get a bonus towards the cultures? I know cultures have an attitude problem towards each other, even if they're in the same group, like Castilians hate Andalusians, for example. What do culture groups do other than the unifying? Unifying only happens in the final age, so that's a bit whatever. Celtic with the Bretons. Prime culture, the world, that would be a huge undertaking. Cultural appropriation is a bit glacial, but I like the idea of More. We can certainly do something that involves Highlander culture and destroying France. And Epirus certainly has goals, Pentarchy and destroying Papal States. What can Cochin do? Trying to imagine what I would want to do with them. You had me at destroying France's Ninjan. Gaelic over Garlic. Replace French Garlic. French language with Gaelic. Ooh. Sounds disgustingly delightful. I think one issue is I can't... As a horde, I can take massive countries and make them a tributary. As a non-horde, I don't think there's a way to just subjugate large countries. So I'd have to break them apart, and there's a lot of France to break apart. I can come up with something for Cochin, something in due time. However, the question is, how do we decide what we're going to do? There's something I've been wanting to do for a wee while, and now feels like an ideal time to be doing exactly that. Of course, I didn't have it ready at the get-go. A clever person would have had this ready for his transitions, but I don't. Hold the phone there. Well, this is where I gotta find where in the world I kept my stuff. Generic game capture, please. So it's something I said I would do fairly often, and I haven't been doing it, and I don't have a good explanation for why. And if I can get it to actually show, then maybe it'll be clear. How do I make you guys decide what we're going to do next? I think we should have a very befitting fight over it. Age of Conflict. This is a fun wee hands-off simulator where you guys are going to be killing each other to decide what we're going to do. The top 10 winners are going to get VIP around here. It's only fair. And I think the grand winner can choose where we're going to be playing as, More, Epirus, or Cochin. I'm happy with all of them. But who is going to take part? We can have maximum 200 people in here, so I take subscribers to the channel and then mix them in with our custom names list. So if you're a subscriber to the channel, good job, you finally get something for that. I mean, look at Flanley17 here. They have been a 48-month subscriber. That is 4 years of supporting me. And all I do is play games. What do they get for that? Can you share with the community what dizzying high you get out of that experience, Flanley? Inquiring minds want to know. Worst day in their life. Okay, let's do this, shall we? I've got a little tool for grabbing subscribers out of chat, which Nick's put together. Very handy man, that Nick's. Fetch the info. Please grab me all of the chatters. It's taking a suspiciously long time. That is quite the list. Hold on. Let me grab this. Ka-chunk. And then I need to go to my chat name pool, and then ka-chunk. That is 71 names. 71, you say? All right, in that case, I'm going to fatten it up with some custom names. Ka-chunk. I'm going to take my list, bring it to 200. And then I'm going to shove that into my random names for this game. Does this sound like a lot of setup? Well, it kind of is, but some games that don't have any kind of integrated way of bringing in chatter names, I do what I can to get them in. How in the world does this JSON capture things? It's just in parentheses with comma at the end. Well, that's nice and easy. So from A Gaming Monkey down to Gremlin Knob, I'm going to shove you all into this game's name list. Replacing whatever we had in the olden days here. God, that was a lot of names. I think I just shoved everybody in. Down to the bottom you go. Kill off the final comma. Save this. Reload the game. Oh, EU5's back. Funny that. Is Gremlinob going to suggest an EU5 country? Yeah, I guess we can turn to Gremlinob. And then we have to do a Slay the Spire run to decide the next round. No, I sincerely doubt that. The last surviving player, I suppose, can decide. If an NPC wins, Jake needs to play Byzantium. I don't want to play Byzantium. Babby country. Always has been. It's always been that, oh, look, Byzantium's hard, and then you play them and you're like, oh, what exactly was hard about this? Right, bring me back the game, please, if such a thing is even possible. And I want to check that it's actually working, so let's quickly throw together a random map. Randomize the world, 200 nations, extra cities, and I just want to make sure that the names are right. Spectre79, are you there in chat? Big Biter, are you there in chat? What about White Snake 777? Zaleb, Dingus? Shouldn't be calling him Dingus. Zingus has done a lot of nice things for me lately. Nick Brick. Nick Brick's got to be there in chat, right? White Snake is saying they're there. All right, then I'm safe to assume this is going to work. What do you think, chat? Europe or the world? Well, hell, we're playing Europa, so the question kind of answers itself. Let's go. Randomize that world as much as you can, and let's get going, shall we? Yes, I rather think we shall. Okay, so what's happening here? Maybe you haven't seen this before. This is how I did VIPs for a little bit, and I've been meaning to do it again. I just haven't for some reason. Can't explain why, but playing Europa reminded me of this. So you guys have been thrown into the ring here. Well, the supporters of the channel have at least, with some of our names list as well. So Wen Chao is there, and so is Rook from the Banner Saga. But there's our mod, Pepperan. There's ZA Numbers, who keeps appearing in our gambling these days. Can he take on Hatsune Miku? That's to be decided. You're going to spread out. You're going to fight. It's essentially just hands off Europa Universalis. And we're going to unpause and see how it goes. All the white stuff was uncolonized land, and it gets filled up rather quickly. And when nations go to war, they combine their various stats. They have their combat efficiency. They've got their money. They've got their total area. They try and fling that at each other to win. They can form alliances, they can make subjects. They can do what they can do to try and make this work. We've got an alliances map mode. They can make their alliances. Same with subjects. We can see the wars. We can see various income. So Crispy Sheep is suspiciously rich. Why so rich, though? And for some reason, it's very rich being up in Karelia for blue. I hope you die. I mean it in the nicest possible way, but I hope you freaking die. All right, what else is going on around here? Well, we will see. We'll give it time to actual fight. I see King Jong Kill is making an alliance with Salty Tempest. Of course, alliances don't have to stay around forever. My beloved Amber from Rune Factory's there. Little Mac is taking on Yoshi. Little Mac had a bit of back and forth with Yoshi, but didn't seem to have big territorial changes. Come on. Oh, I see you've listened to my call to kill Blue. Popuri and the Plague Bloater are trying to take him on. Trying and succeeding? No. No, you're not. Because you're bloody losers. The blue comeback is real. People have their own flags as well, by the way. There's Agent Chieftain. And Pseudo's got a really weird looking... Is that a skull on his map? And we see little skulls pop up for people that are dying. Tim was conquered by Terminal Wetness. If you're dead, that might not be the end of you. In this game, there are cores. You can core a city, and that means if it revolts, you can get back on the map. Although people could then core it and get rid of your core, and then you are dead for good. So it's hard to really say when someone is truly dead. And there are scaling costs, so the more cities that you have cored, the more expensive it'll be to get more. Blue even got 2 countries, yeah. A weird thing with the game, which I asked to be fixed and it wasn't fixed, is that it can take the name. It can take a name and apply it multiple times. I don't know how to prevent it from doing that. So there's definitely going to be some people who lucked out and started with multiple locations. But surely they'll play fair. Legendary Marvin is the Pope. Good on him. And Reginald decided to stop short of worst England, so good on you. Feel bad for the cyber demon back there. Little Mac, not so little. He's going on the rampage around here. Jake, you're on the right of Little Mac. Oh, would you look at that? I don't feel so good, though, for some reason. I feel like a loyal little subject of Little Mac. Kind of alliances we've got going. Oh, well. I'm actually the top dog in this wee alliance here. Oda Nobunaga's union, his ambitious union. C-Space has made his little pact over there as they slug it out. The Nyan Cat's taking care of C-Space's allies, though. Send Link. Rusli Teostopus is there. Blue is sadly still alive. Crispy Sheep up in the north. Not much going on in glorified Russia, though. People can go across sea zones nice and easy. That's what these lit up areas are. Thunderdome down in Iberia. Doug was conquered by the Wolf's troops are attacking. Halligan, the Druid of the World's Desire. No, Salty Tempest is taking on the World's Desire there. That's Brent Halligan. Gruntilda Winky Bunyan. Doing all the Balkan posting that she can, but she rhymes every line. It's a neat little simulator, says Ivan Loki. It is a neat little simulator, and I particularly like the fact that we can drag you guys into it. If it was just random nations that take their random names, it's not quite so compelling. Although I do like the little anthill approach of it. Biotic God Volus, can he take on Little Mac? Not when Little Mac is part of the DDR Jake Alliance, which is being eaten inside out. Come on. Steady yourself, lads. We can take care of... What the hell is this? The Kaiji Ito Syndicate. I don't want to take a gamble on that one, thanks. I still don't feel so good for some reason. Just not feeling so great with Shawit on my border. You can see some powers that are really starting to come out. We've got Ib, I've got the Nyan Cat. Pepperan is securing quite a lot of northern French cities. Listen carefully and make a choice. Which Balkaner has this dumb voice? Oh man, TBW suddenly being given wonderful memories of annoying his family with the noise of Kazooie running around. Certainly know it drove my mother up the walls. Oda Nobunaga's ambition up in the north of Iberia doing well. Ebe is getting consumed by Little Mac. That is some hideous borders that we got going on there. Zed, a silly name, having a back and forth with Crispy Sheep. I hope Crispy Sheep wins, though. It's a much easier name to say. Another kanji's over there. I'm glad Little Mac is my ally, but for how long is Little Mac going to remain little and my ally? Seems to be a coalition against the Nyan Cat, and they're not looking so hot for it. It shows us the larger wars that we have, like Pepperan taking it on with Cyber Demon. Nyan Cat continuing to fight it out with the Gruntilda. I remember learning to play the recorder. I'd play the Christmas carols all the way to April. My parents must have loved it. Oh, God. The recorder is such a miserable instrument. I was forced to learn it as a child. It sounds bad. It feels bad. Nobody wants to play it. And it actually destroyed any interest in playing music I could have had. The only musical instrument I'd want to take up now is the drums, because I like just the vicious beating. Wow, Pajama Sam, I think, just crawled out of Little Mac's stomach there. I'm still feeling a bit worried on the periphery here, Little Mac. Surely you could give your old pal DDR Jake some land. Sleepy Med seems to be having his filthy way with me. Gruntilda's winky bunions are absolutely taking over the Balkans, though. It's kind of scary. The rhyming Balkan posting will continue until morale improves. Uncle Lubeck is struggling to get over to actual Lubeck, because Silplane has got it. Is there any input into the game, or am I just blind, says Crispy Shape? No, you're doing it. You're doing it. Keep doing whatever you're doing. Seems to be working for you. You've unified about half of Germany. The Nyan Cat has decided to ensnare Germany in its little trap. Pepperan has lost a bit, gained a bit. Can they take on Oda Nobunaga? Come on, Little Mac. I don't feel so good. Sleepy Med's having his way with me. Oh. Ah. No, Little Mac. You betrayed me. Okay, so absolutely dead to the Little Mac. What a shame. Well, I never could beat the original Punch-Out on the NES. Speaking of annoying noises and memories, check what's north of Stockholm. Charlotte. Thought we had Charlotte down here, but yeah, man, I prefer not to think about that game. I did beat it, but more out of spite. It was not a fun game to play. Kind of a nice game to look at, but that's about the end of it. You know, the Cyber Demon's having a good position from southern England and southern Wales while we're at it. Pepperan, can you get back what you lost in France against the Nyan Cat? What a land grab, if you can just hold on to it. Not bad. I see you've made the unholy alliance with Oda Nobunaga. Pajama Sam continuing to exist inside Little Mac's hideous borders. Trying to do something about it? Yes! Beautiful borders are just not even allowed around here. What is this? Before there was EU5, there was EU1, but it wasn't this. I feel like you're always a bit safer off in the corner in the map. Well, I mean, I obviously wasn't, but not having to worry about one or even two of your cardinal directions has got to be quite the bonus. Especially if there are two of you, like Ebe is here and here. Ebe has twice the choice, twice the options of choosing my campaign and getting VIP. Wasn't there a way to see the total number of nations left? Yeah, there is, and chat is obfuscating it. You know what, chat? Wouldn't you be happier up here? Just for now. There we go. We can actually see that Little Mac has the most area. Thanks to Bad Ideas Guy. Still playing is trying. Do we have any actual chatters that have done well, though? You seem to be getting floored. We've got Al Girdas, and we've got Pepperan, of course. It'd be funny if Pepperan wins, because mods can't get VIP. Which are saying we're on top, baby. Are you really? Maybe we don't check by area. What if we check by your gold? Bad Ideas Guy, and well done, Pseudo Reginald. You're actually rich. Well, you know, if you own all of the UK, you are rich. Rich in disgust. Silplane's putting their name over Crispy Shape on the map. That has got to be a Casus Belli right there. Little Mac going down into Anatolia, but getting absolutely blown out by Sundowner. There was an attempt, Little Mac. By the way, you can see if somewhere's cored or not. Lovely, lovely green-looking city. That's a core. Not so green, not a core. And it costs a lot of money to get those cores. You can see established core down here, and you'll see that the cost starts growing up wildly. Oh, little Mac uppercut me. Well, he completely ground me out of existence. He's doing a little land grabs, seem to be working out for him. Bandage Girl is still hanging around there. I think I still have my core on my old land here. If I check here, rightful owner isn't me. Oh no, I've been cored out of existence. There is not going to be any more DDR Jake then. Unless I was sneakily somewhere else on the map. What happened to the Oda-Pepperan alliance here? M. Bison seems to have come between them. Gruntilda is struggling to hold on to the Balkans something fierce. Silplane found the jiggies and the music notes. And Scourge of Doug, he's like the worst Rune Factory 4 character. I'll be happy to see him dead. What an idiot. I think he has a bit of a following within Fujo's, but there's no sense putting logic on that one. Alright. Pepperan is really trying to go nice and Charlemagne here. It's not working out, though. The Crispy Sheep defense line is holding against you. Although I'm not sure it's holding up against Silplane. That's apparently their ally. But I don't think I trust an alliance that looks like that. Oh, no! You should have never trusted an alliance like that. Good job, Silplane. That stab in the back. Hey, Warble. Warble's more or less united Italy, or at least the good Italy. Oda Nobunaga, his ambition cannot be quelled. He continues to conquer on, even if he's cut off from Galicia. Get out of my you, says Nemiblub. There's Nemiblub around here anyway. Resty and Hash Zero up at the top, slugging it out over glorified Russia. Send link. Pepper is saying it's all according to plan. I don't know, Pepper. You get, but you lose. Oh, Little Mac doesn't lose. Bad ideas, guy. We had a good idea, but I'm afraid just like the Animaniacs, it turns into a bad idea pretty fast. Barely clinging on to life here. It's got his one capital and a fair amount of gold. That's not too bad. But, oh god, that doesn't look so good for you. How about age, by the way? You can see the people who've never been conquered because their age is right at the top. Actually, everybody that's conquered is staying conquered. We're not having revolts. Wait, I wonder if I still have revolts off. Hold that thought for a moment. I am quite certain. Where in the world are settings? I think I turned revolts off at some point. Gameplay, timescale, rich present, random names, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Huh. I haven't played in a while, so maybe they changed some things, but I could have sworn that there was a setting for revolts. And since nobody is old, I'm wondering if it's gone for some reason. Here we go, world settings. Oh my gosh, how could this be? I disabled revolts. Alright, there we go. Now people can come back into existence. How do I get rid of the tools there? There we go. Yeah, that's a carryover from when I was playing earlier. Don't think your land will be so generous to you now. I could have lived on if I'd remembered that. Rigged. You don't want to appear too strong too early. It paints a massive target on your back, doesn't it? France's natural borders really coming together. When are you going to buy some Italian islands, Pepperan? Quite the back and forth with Silplane. You know, Silplane was able to stab somebody else in the back. Don't think they won't stab you, Pepper. So, cities that aren't your core build up revolts, and that's what can happen. Sundowner's back. Bloody Mary is back. Jeff Moreau is back. So if you hold on to a lot of land but you don't core it, that can happen. Ooh, and some of them come out fighting. If you don't have a lot of money, some nations can support you. You might see little things flying around. That's people giving money, declaring wars, establishing relationships. So I think Bloody Mary... Oh, I thought they made an alliance there. Clearly they did something else. The bloater blew up, as they tend to do. Such an easy opponent to fight. Somebody keeps bringing up the dark side mod around me, and I gotta say, it is eating slowly away at my brain, telling me I should do another run of State of Decay 2. Because State of Decay 3 isn't coming out anytime soon. M. Bison, Cloud Strife, Eve, Acqui. And how many actual people that we care about do we still have here? Also, now we can check age, so we can see revolters that have come back. Superior, Jeff Moreau, Ryugyu, Ebe, and Shawut all came back. Warble starting in Italy. Role-playing the EU5 AI. Why fix what isn't broken? Italy's just so unbelievably rich. Please do another run of State of Decay 2. I need to think about what I would do in it and why. It would be easier if I knew when State of Decay 3's release date was, right? If I knew it was coming in over a year from now, like delayed until 2027, for example, then I'd go, okay, there's not going to be any State of Decay in my life for ages unless I actually play 2 again. So, Pepperan, how does it feel about your mortal enemy still playing being pushed back so far? If you could just kick the Cyber Demon out of your lands, you'd have a good stranglehold on Western Europe. Little Mac appears to have exploded into a lot of countries. I wanted to pause and check that, but we can check by age here. Terminal Wetness, Ryugyu Reina, Uncle Lubeck, Sundowner, Blue, Malkar, Algirdas, Zingus, Cyber Demon, Sleepy Med, Rincewind, Hat Kid, a lot of them came back. If I recall, what I used to do in this is when we get down to 20 nations, I would disable revolts, because otherwise that can go back and forth a lot. But what a failure. It's a sign. Brittle Mac. Yeah, anybody want to kill Blue again? He took a surprising amount of cities with his revolt around there. Yeah, Greater Karelia looking quite the metropolis. I mean, more so than France. You don't even hold Paris, Pepperan. Come on, hop to it. No, don't hop to another fight with Kanji. That's not what we're looking for. I've got to say, Warble is our most successful player that we have around here, unless you count Hash. Maybe you could count Hash. If Hash could just eliminate Master Hand, maybe they'll have a better time. God, still playing, continuing to cling to life. It's almost inspiring. Blue gets a comeback, but not Miku. The world must burn for this. He's got way too much land up there. He needs to be dealt with. But yeah, best way to prevent exploding like that, core your cities. Hash trying and failing to consume the Master Hand while Resty clings onto life on the border. But Rincewind is a master of magic. He can climb a tree without touching it. What is considered low market access? At what point should I consider starting a new market in the outer territories? Well, we don't have markets in this game. I could have sworn we have trade, though. We've got income, though. Who's got the money? Anyway, low market access depends on whether or not you have any actual production buildings there. Not RGOs, but buildings that you have in towns and cities generally. And the answer is it depends, but if it was lower than 80%, I would consider improving market access with roads or just making another market. Which I would say concentrate production around market centers. And if another nation has a market center, you can fight them and steal the market from them. Then it'll go to your city within that node, although I don't know exactly how it chooses where. Grunty just annexed me, says Salty Tempest. Yeah, it's difficult living under the Winky Bunyan yoke, isn't it? Who knows, you might come back. Hey, there's Dingus. Dingus clings onto life. And dog. Malkar. Sorry, but I don't see a Salty Tempest. Oh, wait, do I not? What's this, Salty? A single Anatolian town with your name on it? The biggest comeback since Lazarus is right there for you to claim. I already did come back and get conquered, and I come back yet again. Yeah, well, you're gone for good if you lose your core on the city. You actually did a little bit of a land grab there. But you're not making alliances. Maybe that would help keep you alive. Brent Halligan's suspiciously rich. Not a lot of places making money anymore. Shawut finding the great riches of Copperbari up north. What does that border mean? Oh, Hash. Hash just went and puppeted Yoshi. And then there was no more Yoshi. Good job, Hash. Gruntilda's just disgusting. And now you've got the mighty power of Silplane on your side. But look at Pepper. That is quite the name. Can we see any puppets going on? Well, we could, but Ghost Inside seems to be having a bad case of the die. Pepper's actually getting France, though M. Bison might have something to say about that. I know Aragon will feel the hunger and secure Gaul. Oda Nobunaga revolting against Silplane. Yeah, Oda Nobunaga just running the way across here. Oh. The ambitions of... What the hell is this? Oh, Pepper, you could not contain the craziness that is Crazy Dave. Rah, rah, rah. Good lord, how's that for timid? Pepper still clings to life in this crap hole 1 pixel place. Where even is that? Is that northern Switzerland? Good lord, Crazy Dave. Yeah, with all that uncored land, the crazy implosion is mere moments away, surely. And I think we can actually see that if we look at the cities here, because they have a revolt risk. Here we go, revolt. Revolts can happen when it exceeds 100. It increases during war declarations, but it does go down during peace. So if Crazy Dave can find a moment of peace, he could keep the revolts at bay and then use his staggering lack of income to core them. Just about everything costs money in this game, after all. The weeb in me is tingling. Reyna will win this, says Rolf. And then she's going to stab you. I like Uncle Bluebeck keeping himself to Hanseatic lands, but I'd be far happier if he actually owned Lubeck. Nyan Cat and Crazy Dave need to come to an understanding. But how can one understand the craziness that is Crazy Dave? He survived my entire Battle Brothers campaign from the moment we picked him up. And he was a cripple. Well, he remained a cripple. Oh, I'm getting double vision on Ghost Inside here. Sort out your borders, please. A salty Tempest, come on, make something of yourself. Surely you can take up... Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can take on Gruntilda. If you're wondering how these battles are done, a lot of it comes down to the combat efficiency of a nation and having the gold to continue to pay your units. If you run low on either of these, as in lower combat efficiency than your foe, and or not enough gold to support your army, then you collapse. Your front lines collapse rapidly, and you better hope you can make peace. That's why you suddenly get surges like that, but if they don't maintain it, especially financially, they fall apart. M. Bison was biding their time to deal with Pepperan, but Crazy Dave dies just as well as any Frenchy Pepper. So this could go on eternally? No, because when you remove somebody's core on a city, they can't come back. So let's say Pepper's been destroyed, but Pepper still has cores. I think this place is cored. Yeah, Pepperan is still considered the rightful owner of... This isn't Brest, is it? It's a bit far off for Brest. Well, wherever this is. These city locations are completely random and they don't have names. Point is, as long as Pepper still has the core as the rightful owner of this land, they can still revolt. But if Crazy Dave can sum up all his money and then core these in the names of Crazy Dave, then Pepper would not be able to revolt from there, and eventually if Pepper had no cores, there'd be no revolting at all. It's not over till the fat Vocaloid sings, as they say. Jinx, Cloud Strife in former Nobunaga land. There is a country count down here, by the way. It's at 34. It started at 200. So that should give you an idea of how eternal it is. The real pain is when you're down to fewer than 10 or 20 countries. Because there's a lot of back and forthing. Like one bad war and somebody can lose minutes of progress. But then, you know, it can flip the other way. That's why I disable breakaways at 20 nations. So at 20 nations, if your name is not on the map, it will never be on the map. So, you know, even if you're just clinging to life as Plague Bloater or Salty Tempest having negative 71 ducats, then you're still in with a chance. Because, you know, Crazy Dave looked crazily unstoppable. And M. Bison seemed like he had the other upper hand, but look at Sil Plain. Still going strong. I've never even seen my name on the map, says Gaming Monkey. Oh, what a terrible shame. Blue is back. Could we just kill him and core his land so he never comes back? Good lord, Ghost Inside. Some people just cannot keep it together. Grunty, on the other hand, can, right? Grunty's had her back and forths, but she's looking strong. The trouble is all this uncored land, but if she can just summon some money and get it cored... God, does anyone make money around here? It's like trying to tax a Scot. Hatsune Miku. Yeah, there she is right here. In former Pepper lands. A lot of revolting lands around here, though. Pepper wanting to rise up. Can they even rise up? Salty saying, I'm back again. Yeah, maybe you should get some cores for a change. Might be good for you. What's the name of the game? This game is called Ages of Conflict. Extremely rare because it's an early access game. And you know my policy on early access games, I don't play them. However, I would say I'm not the one playing, you guys are. So I can't believe all you people are playing an early access game. You're disgusting me. Almost as much as Ghost Inside's borders disgust me. I mean, what is this? I probably could have achieved this as Golden Horde if I'd gone aggressive towards Constantinople. Wasn't Plague Bloater in the Baltic? Where's Plague Bloater now? There they are. Still holding on to life with this surprisingly rich city that they have. It's a righteous city as well. Do they have righteous land? No, Rincewind rightfully has the core there. Rincewind used to hold this, now it's gone. I'm starting to think Hash is in a great position. Right, their corner is secured. They have a fair amount of cores. They just need to get enough money to actually get all this stuff done. It's not like they lack money. Do we see the cost of coring this? Oh, they're actually seizing territory from Rincewind. But yeah, Hash is in a great position, and I actually see their favorite to win. But never call your favorites yet, because anything can happen here. Big revolt could cripple Hash. There's another Plague Bloater in Anatolia. Lucky for them. Like I said, because of the way this game chooses names, you can get multiples. I did log that as a bug, but I did that about a year ago, and it hasn't been dealt with. Early access games, I swear. Well, Kim Jong. That's why you should never say that GG for anybody until they lose all their cores. Gruntilda not feeling so good. Warble continue to just sit there, grabbing little parcels of land, making sure that everything is cored as well. Everything's green in Warble land, although there's not a lot of them. Is that yours, Warble? I'll be diddled. Absolute Thunderdome in Central Europe, though. King John Kill is doing so well, he might let me revolt from him again. Revolt? But you already have this land, Salty. Why would you want more? Combat efficiency immediately crippling. Alright, given the back and forth thing, I think when we hit 30 countries, we're going to disable revolting. So if you want to spring to life, like Brent Halligan, Plague Bloater, and some others did, now's your final chance. I serve the hash of it, Union. Where are our alliances anyway? The Gruntilda Winky Punyon Pact, the Ibs Alliance, the Hash Union, King Jong Kills Syndicate. Well, the Ib Alliance is pretty good, but I like that Hash Union. I like that Hash Union a fair bit. Hash lost a lot of land, though. Bandage Girl coming out, and Ghost Inside migrating enormously. Weren't you over here? The Biotic God Resurgence proceeds pace. That's in the Nyan Cat coming back to life. Oh, God. Who wanted to have lots of countries again? How many nations just got spat out there? I think it was over 10. We just got Oda, Malkar, Papuri, Ebe, Plague Bloater, Algidas, Biotic God is back, The Wolf, Reyna, Sundowner, Yoshi, Pajama Sam. Scary stuff. You can also see who's had the largest area ever. It's got to be Hash. Bad Ideas guy was on the list, but is dead now. Same with one of our Ebes. Doug is there. But at least Ghost Inside is still alive. Income we have a map mode for. Gold interests me the most. More gold, Your Majesty. So M. Bison has got to be the best steady player. Warble just got annihilated for playing it too safe. And now Warble is subject to Sill Plain. But yeah, look at M. Bison. Cores galore. Great land. And if they could just not worry about Sill Plain, which is of course their biggest worry, M. Bison is a shoo-in to win. Because I said Hash would have problems with those revolts, and they absolutely did. Warble says we'll rise again. That might be difficult as a subject. Oh, but I think you broke away. You're independent again, but you're too weak to strike Sill Plain and regain your land. It is still your core, though. Pepperan is back. Pepperan is, yes, back. Pepper hanging on in Switzerland. All right, that's 30 nations. From now on, revolting is banned. Bang. I think maybe when we're below 20, we will ban alliances. Just to try and solidify, because I want to be sure. I want to at least have a top 5 by the end of all of this. All right, so if you're not on the list right now, you will never exist. Smallest being Gruntilda Winky Bunyan, somewhere around there. Ghost Inside is still alive. Where did Seymour Guado come from? Austrian Seymour Guado. Hat Kid M. Bison. Resty's there. Master Hand is here. Sleepy Med still going for it. Ebe has become the new Swiss of Europe. Well, I don't know. I think the Pepperan Canton's doing all right, eating formal Warble land. King John Kill, what is your secret? What a land grab that was. You subjugated what's left of Gruntilda's Winky Bunions, consuming the Nyan Cat. And now that revolts are disabled, land grabs have become that much stronger. Oh my lord. Can anything stop King Jong? Well, the income map mode can. Being at war dissolves your money quickly, so if you don't stop being at war, you're going to find yourself being pretty broke. Well, I say that, but just land grabbing is working out tremendously well for him. He even puppeted some nations. What? Kim Jong, where were you hiding this power? If you can hold it together, I think we have our winner. Or maybe we can have a coalition against you, but look at that, you're absorbing all the money from the subject you've picked up. Hash tries to fight against King Jong, but just can't do it alone. The West has fallen. How about the North? It's barely clinging on. I'll say West, I mean East. All under one. Good lord, that's powerful. Just beyond powerful. Do we even have a Kim Jong in chat? That better be a chatter's name, right? If it wasn't, it's going to be the saddest VIP. Kim is an auto-Turk. What an overplayed combo. Playing Korea, is it? Korea was not an option. I don't think he's here. Well, whether he's here or not, he's getting his VIP. I'm going to strip it away from whoever had it. And then that's it, because unless there's a massive... Well, I don't even know how a coalition could beat Kim Jong right now. Because attempts to free yourself from him aren't working well, is it, Sleepy Med? And he keeps sucking your cash away. Well, let's hear it to the player that was able to live up to their name, King Jong Kill. But if they're not around to decide what the next campaign will be, I have to turn around to the other people. Sleepy Med, Akwai, and Hash. If you're in chat, which of the 3 options most appealed to you? We're thinking Moray up in northern Scotland. We're thinking Epirus, subject of Byzantium. And we're thinking Cochin down in India. Ebe is still the richest. That's just because Ebe is sitting on a lot of money. Not, well, actually, funnily enough, more income. But it's all going to Kim Jong. Tell me about income. Just Sleepy Med is somehow rich. They must be doing some good trading. I am struggling to see how Kim Jong could not win this one at this point. I mean, not only that, but you've allied with Ib and you've subjected everybody else. So it's just a case of breaking your alliance with Ib, eating your subjects, and then Ib dies. Unless Ib does the biggest comeback. But Ib is supporting Kim Jong with money. Alliances are now verboten. Akai seems to be the only chatter around. Yeah, well, one man, one vote. Let's play as Moray then. That'll be who we do. Just like Kim Jong does Ib. Ib is a character from a brilliant horror game. An indie RPG maker horror game, no less. But it was a beautiful game, wonderful soundtrack, great visuals, good spooks. I love Ib. Difficult to play now, though, because I know how it goes, so the spooks aren't there to be had. Victory to our great and only leader. Yes, such an overpowering victory for Kim Jong. They absolutely turked it out from Anatolia. And not often you see a good decisive single victory there. Like I said, we did this before, I think in America, where we had back and forth for a long, long time between 2 or 3 powers. But Kim Jong was having none of it. Absolutely none of it. So whether they're around or not, let's VIP Kim Jong. Don't tell me they're not actually a chatter. I'm actually going to have to check my names list. What if it's just a name that somebody put on my names list? I actually think it was a name somebody just put on my names list, because I'm not seeing it in the chatter list at all. Let me check my custom name pool. It is just it doesn't even have an explanation. Somebody just put the name Kim Jong Kill on my other character's name. They're not real. Ah. Who put it on the names list? I have no idea. Like, I do not know the source of this name. Well, you know what that means? It means not a single person in chat was able to defeat whatever this name is and wherever it came from. So I'm afraid I'm going to revoke all of your VIP statuses. And until we have another round here in Ages of Conflict, nobody gets it. But this was rather fun, and I think we'll do this again. And of course, the only way to get in on that is to be a supporter of the channel. Might as well get that plug in now while we can. God, I feel filthy just saying that. Yeah, maybe we'll do that at the end of long EU4 sessions, because it seems the most EU4 fitting game to have. But, we've decided we'll do Moray. Moray will start, according to my notes, tomorrow, unless DDR kills me. And that is quite the assumption that DDR will be happening. Alright, very good. Should we remind ourselves what Moray even looks like? Get out of here, game. I don't need to be reminded about this Kim Jong Kill character. Ah. There we go. We need to think about what to do with Moray. I've already forgotten what we had decided. Oh, right, it's kill France by the end of it. But yes, that'll be my task for tomorrow. And I will get on that. Ask the AI chatbot since AI won. No, absolutely not. The only, or the longest surviving chatter got to decide. All right, Moray tomorrow, and actually probably some DDR, because I do feel like it, and I've been neglecting it for a good long time. Ah, the plumber. That's difficult. I'm waiting on a plumber arriving, and I don't know when. Anyway, until I am back with more streams, from me, it is a cheers and a cheerio.